Welcome to Wednesday Night Live from the Basement. Here's your hosts, Rob, Daryl, and Joe.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
Good.
It's Rob and Joe. No Daryl tonight. Daryl will be back probably next week. So in his place we have Tim and special guest Richard. Welcome, guys. How's everybody doing?
Well, I mean, I think we are all to a certain extent, but we're probably not as bad off maybe as our friend Sam, as you can see in the comments right now, right?
Yes. Poor Sam is a little. He's hurting. Yeah, of course, Sam. I've been wearing this all day because it's been a kind of a sad, shitty day. We're going to talk about Brian in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Chris, man, you said you weren't going to watch. You said you were tired and you were going to go to bed, but you should stay up and watch us anyway. Record Hound, how you doing?
Hello.
Of course, Sam. How's everybody's week been? Aside from the sad events for today, how's everybody's week been?
Mine's been crazy.
Yeah, Tim's got some concert stories. So
yeah, I went. So last Wednesday we were chatting. So I went to Mike Campbell on last Thursday.
Ooh.
What a show, man! What a show! I went early to try and get him to sign some stuff. Steve Ferroni was actually really nice. He showed up, signed some stuff. Mike Campbell shows up maybe 2 minutes later. No, kind of ignored. Just, hey, Mike. And he just kind of did one of these. Just kind of, hey, how you doing? Tour manager said, oh, sorry, man, he's got sound check. Sorry. What's your name?
Wow.
What's your name? And I said, oh, Tim. He's like, well, I don't know. He just said something and we'll see what. I'm like, oh, I was very, very briefly chatting with the tour manager and said what I wanted to tell Mike. And I got wind that Mike was playing. He was dropping a new song Friday, and he was playing Our City Thursday. So I'm like, he's got to play the new song. So sure enough, this one's for Tim, and actually, no, I put it away. But so on the sound, I got the set list at the end of the night. Got the boys to sign it, and on the set list, it has for Tim for the Heart of the Heartland. I think is the new song. So yeah,
you're making Sam incredibly jealous by hearing this.
And then it's funny because after the show, when I was trying to get said set list, these people from I guess New Hampshire were in town, and I guess they've been following him on his Canadian leg tour. And she came up to me and she's like, "You're a big fan, eh?" I'm like, yeah. And we're chatting away, and she's like, "Oh, I forget. It's all a blur, really." But she came to say hi, and then she gave me one of the guitar picks that Mike gave her. So I'm like, "Oh wow, thanks." And so that's where I run. I'm like, "Sorry, I'd love to talk, but I can't," kind of thing, because I wanted to catch Mike leaving the venue. So I got Mike signed some stuff after the show. He was really nice. I got a photo. And then on Sunday, I went to see Terry Chambers.
Hold that for 1 second. We just got to say hello to Daryl. Hey, man, we miss you, buddy. Concentrate on getting well. Tim will keep your chair warm for you.
Exactly.
Keep Joe and I in the loop, man. We're thinking about you all the time and hope that you're doing well. Sorry, I wanted to make sure we acknowledge Daryl there. So the next night.
Yeah, and then Sunday night, I went to see Terry Chambers of XTC, just at a small little bar. It was great. He was
That's
fantastic.
Cool. Hey, Curtis, how you doing?
Why are you going to bed so early, Curtis? What the hell? You're usually a night owl. Is he new job? What's going on?
I think he does he does fishing in the off season, right? Like commercial fishing.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, so he's probably going to be up in like 3 hours to go fishing.
Commercial fishing season, so
right. Yeah, that makes sense.
I suspect.
Makes sense.
What's going on at the store there, Joe? Oh, look at that. Hold on, I got to make it large for that. Hold on.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
I sent that to Sam when you sent it to me.
Yeah,
so.
and there's Steve Ferroni.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Very cool.
That's good.
What's going on at the shop there, Joe?
There, Curtis clarified. Lobster fishing season. So we all will be expecting our freshly squeezed lobster, right? Store's good. Store's clicking along for summertime. It's not too bad. Now, I don't have as good of a concert story, but I did go see one on the weekend. I was talking about it last week. So it was ZZ Top, but the Wallflowers opened up, and that was the first time that I saw the Wallflowers. And Sam knows. I talked. Well, we Facebook Messengered. I think you can just call that talking. I'm not sure if it is, but it's just part of talking these days. They were fantastic. Dylan, he sounds great. 6-piece band. You know exactly what you're going to get from the sound of the Wallflowers. Mm-hmm. And then as close as I got to Tom Petty as they did a cover of The Waiting, which was fantastic. It started and it was like, oh shit, that's awesome. And it wasn't the last song, but it was kind of second last. So it was like, you were waiting for, they had a couple of hits still to go. And then all of a sudden they kick into that. And it's like, geez, I hope they're not just kind of starting with this and then going into one of their songs, full song. So it was really, really good. And ZZ Top was ZZ Top. They're 80-ish now, 75, 80. I saw them back in 1990. Really not a lot different. No big screens. The backdrop was just kind of stars and stuff like that. Lighting was pretty minimal. It's about ZZ Top. It's about the guitars. It's about the playing. Billy Gibbons sounds exactly like Billy Gibbons always sounded. He's really sounded the same from day one till now. He's just 60 years later. Frank Beard was hiding behind this big monster drum set. You could kind of see him pop up every once in a while. And then the new gentleman, what the hell is his name? I can't remember.
The guitar tech guy.
It's the guitar tech. Yeah, exactly. And he was fantastic. For those that know, but if you're a casual fan and all you ever heard was Eliminator and you just went because you really loved Legs and Sharp Dressed Man, you wouldn't have known because it's just an old dude with beard that can play the bass guitar. And there was one song that I wanted to hear they didn't do, but that's because Dusty sang it, so they just don't do it anymore. But other than that, fantastic. It was great. ZZ Top was great, and I was not disappointed by the Wallflowers, which is sometimes can happen if you've not seen them and they're a little further along in their career, like Collective Soul a few years ago. I thought sucked, and it pissed me off because I was really looking forward to them. So the Wallflowers did not disappoint, and the bonus Tom Petty cover was fantastic. They didn't do one of their songs, but what are you going to do? And it was a short set. I'd love to see them in a full set in a smaller venue, like in a more of an auditorium. And I think they'd just be fantastic. But it was great.
How long did they play for, Joe?
It was maybe 40 minutes, 45. It was like 6-7 songs and nothing extended by any means. They kept it pretty short. I think ZZ Top's got to get to bed. So ZZ Top wants to start playing at 8 o'clock. So, when their time is up, their time is up. I think. I mean, I can't see why they wouldn't play longer unless they were specifically asked, here's your time frame. Have at her. So, like I said, I'd love to go see them. Hopefully, maybe there can be another time. I know they've got a few other Canadian dates when they're on their own or they're at some festivals, which would be cool as well. So,
Daryl says all's positive here. If it goes to plan, he'll be discharged tomorrow. That's great, man. Like I said, yes. Joe and I've been worried about you. So,
yes,
glad things are heading positively. And while Daryl's watching and Joe's here, I'm going to be in Montreal next Wednesday, or I'll be actually on a plane back from Montreal. So I kind of had a crazy idea. I don't know if we can work it out scheduling-wise, but we should pre-record an episode so we can still have a show next Wednesday. It just won't be live. What do you think?
Whatever works, man. Yeah, most evenings is all good, and it's not like we haven't. It's not like we haven't done that before, so that's perfectly fine. Yeah, we can do that.
So let's chat about that.
All the, I don't know how long it is, but in Montreal right now they're doing all the F1.
I know that the race is on.
You're
race
missing
is
it?
on Sunday, and I'm going there Tuesday, Wednesday. So,
okay,
yeah,
you'll get all the.
I've been to the race. I've been to the race there before, and it was pretty.
Oh,
cool.
Have you?
Oh yeah, I was there in 2012 it was work. It was a work trip, and we had seats literally at the start finish line, like 15 rows up. It was
nice.
Like they were the most expensive seats you could have at the whole bloody race. It was incredible. I'm a huge F1 fan, so
You'll get all the discounted shirts that were $200 that are going to be $190. That's what you'll get next week. So.
When I was in Montreal, I dropped a shitload of money. When I was there for the race, I dropped a shitload of money on team gear back then. They still have it all, and my team has changed names 3 times since then. So, and
again next year. No, not them. Different.
I've left that team, and I'm an Aston Martin fan now. As I have an Aston Martin sitting on my desk. So.
There you go. Exactly. And Richard, how is Colorado these days?
Colorado has been typical Colorado weather. It's raining one day, it's sunny and hot. Today it did both at the same time. I was going to go to a shoegaze concert last week, and it just rained cats and dogs. I go, yeah, well, I guess I'm not going to that, am I? Fortunately, the tickets were cheap enough, and I'm just like, yeah, fine, whatever. So, yeah, my most exciting news this week is getting a new washer and dryer.
All right. Are they networkable? I know when my washer's done because I get a text on my phone. Pretty fancy.
I live alone. I didn't need anything that techy.
Yeah.
So just like, does it wash? Does it spin? Does it drain like it's supposed to? That's all I want. Replacing my old one was 23 years old, so I figured it was time.
That's money you could have spent on records. Who needs clean clothes?
I know, damn it. or money that I could have used to go to the Buffalo thing. But
listen here, Chris, man. Aston Martin, I'll have you know, is owned by a Canadian who also owns the Aston Martin F1 team. So that's an F1 team that's from Canada. Even though we also have a Canadian driver who sucks it. Well, McLaren, I can't blame you for that. If you were a Red Bull fan, Joe, I don't think we could be friends anymore.
I wouldn't be friends with myself if I was a Red Bull fan. And this is arguably before anybody goes, well, that's not McLaren. It's Aero McLaren. It's the IndyCar shirt. It's the Pato Award shirt.
Right.
But it's the same friggin' colors. So there you go. Anyway,
the only Aston Martin gear I've got a Fernando Alonso hat upstairs. I should get it because it matches my shirt.
Joe's a Ferrari girl. So
before that, I've been a long-suffering Renault, actually Alpine, Renault, Lotus, Renault, Benetton, but
Alpine, Audi.
Can't do it anymore. Who is the king of England that drives it? What the fuck? Have you had a few beers, Chris? What are you talking about?
Maybe Chris needs to go to bed after all.
Probably. Daryl says he has to get some rest. It was a pincushion day. Wanted to say hello. Optimistic for next week. All right, man. Take care. And like I said, the show doesn't matter. We're just worried about you. So keep Joe and I in the loop, man. We're worried about you.
Exactly. That's correct.
So,
there.
I guess we need to talk about, the shitty news today. We lost arguably one of the most legendary of legends in music, right? Brian Wilson. I mean, talk amongst yourselves for a second. I got to go yell at my kid. He's fighting with my wife.
Well,
Take the lead, Joe.
Yeah. Of course, as Rob said, just legendary for a number of reasons. The time frame and the different genres, obviously, the beach sound, and then what happened with pet sounds and things like that. And then, of course, there's the whole backstory of Brian Wilson and what went on there and everything else. So, but arguably you'd have to put him, if you were building a Mount Rushmore, Brian Wilson's probably got to be on there. If he's not in the main four, he's the fifth one, and then we'll just make five. But it was a shocker. Sly and the Family Stone, Sly earlier this week as well. Obviously not as big, but I really like Sly and the Family Stone. I like that kind of stuff. So that was a loss as well. Someone else, a few different people passing away. It's the old adage. I'm not sure, Tim. I don't know exactly how old you are. You look like you're 12. I know you're a little bit more than that, but that's a compliment, by the way, not a shot. But Richard, I'm not sure if, you and I are a little closer. The old adage of it comes in threes. And unfortunately, that kind of seems to be sometimes the case. Now, again, so someone just mentioned from Klaatu died, Terry Draper, and then earlier someone had mentioned someone else as well. So, but Wilson,
Sly Stone, I believe, right?
Yeah. There was someone else I thought that got mentioned as well. But
Trevor mentioned somebody from Helmet. It was like,
correct.
Always,
Yeah, Trevor
they
mentioned.
always
Yeah,
come in threes, eh?
yeah,
They always
yeah.
come in threes.
But Richard, obviously, you were of you were of the time frame when the Beach Boys were the Beach Boys. Maybe maybe we were both little kids at that point, but an influence for sure. And then obviously everything that came after it. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, I grew up with this.
Yeah,
and this is one of my father's albums. He played all the time. So it was the surfer age of Brian Wilson and friends, but still, this was, that music I grew up with. I really didn't get into Pet Sounds until considerably later. But for me, it's interesting because you talk about, we talk about musicians who passed, and we talk about their legend or their talent or their genius. You put Brian Wilson as all three of those. He's a legend with talent and musical genius, and like you said, the Mount Rushmore of musicians past, he would have to be on that.
Yeah, and just innovative. Obviously realizing what he was trying to accomplish with Pet Sounds, and then getting the right people to play on that. The Wrecking Crew and doing those types of things. I'm sure there was a lot of animosity that even we don't know about between he and the rest of the band. Well, I know there was, right? But
for sure,
for him to realize, hey, you guys go out and you tour, you play our older music. I'm going to stay here and I'm going to work on this. And then just like picking the right people and how labor intensive that must have been, and how excruciating for him that would have been to get that right, knowing a little bit of his mindset, right? So. We're just commenting, Rob, that, definitely, I don't know how much you could hear, but like Mount Rushmore, if there is, he's on there. Yeah, he is, for sure. So,
yeah.
And I'm
sure I had to go negotiate with a 9-year-old terrorist. So,
yeah. And I complimented Tim that he's younger. Again, I have no idea, but I mean, what are your Beach Boy influences? Is it Cocktail? Is it older stuff? Is it a little of both?
No. You're asking me that question?
No, I was asking Tim, but you go ahead, too.
Rob and I are roughly the same age.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope.
So yeah, I get the I get that a lot.
Well, I tell Rob he's good looking and young all the time, so he's okay.
I don't feel young.
Yeah. No, for me, I kind of picked up on them. Like, I never got Pet Sounds right away. But I knew all their old stuff, kind of like almost like the Beatles. The Beatles didn't get to me for quite a while. I didn't get them till much later. But same thing with the Beach Boys, like all their old stuff. But I saw Brian 3 times. I saw him alone in 2005 or 6. And then I think from the shirt that you have, Rob, on, was that from like 2010, 2011?
This was the 2017. This was the
the reunion
anniversary tour.
Okay, because he went out on he did Pet Sounds on his own in around 2010, 2011.
Yeah,
and the reason why I remember that.
This was the anniversary one, 50th anniversary. It was him and Al Jardine and Blondie Chaplin, and then the rest of Brian's band.
Okay.
And it was amazing.
Okay, because my wife and I had just met my wife, but I just met her at that time, and one of our first dates was like front row at Brian when he went solo before they did the reunion tour.
Oh, that's cool.
So we had front row.
Awesome. And Rob,
so I prefer his older stuff. I never really got into the newer stuff too much. It's not my go-to. But one thing that always captivates me is the Surf's Up demo, where he's just on the piano. I love that. I can listen to that 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Rob, yourself, was your Pet Sounds is obviously in your wheelhouse? No, it was the early.
I came into Pet Sounds a lot later. And even to this day, I recognize the incredible genius that album is, but is it one that I listen to a lot? No, it's not. Like, every occasionally.
Yeah.
But I have amazing appreciation for what it was. I like some of their more poppier stuff. Now, stuff like, Good Vibrations is insane. Like, it's incredible. Yeah. But, I mean, my gateway was this record and actually this exact copy. And, Chris, man, this is greatest hits, man. This is right up your alley. This was my dad's. This was my dad's original first pressing, and you can't see it, but my dad's name's written there in ballpoint pen. When I was, I don't know, 10, 11, 12, and I wanted, I'm like, I know a few Beach Boys songs. Like I knew, Serpent Safari or whatever. This was the first Beach Boys record I remember playing because this was one of the few that my dad had. So this exact record was my gateway into those early hits, and then I got into some of the other stuff later on, and then Pet Sounds came along later because, as I'm getting into music when I'm a teenager or whatever, you hear about all those albums that are, the greatest albums of all time, and that one is constantly mentioned, and my dad had it, and I have his copy there as well. And so I listened, I'm like, oh, this is very interesting. So I didn't go to this concert because I'm like, I love Pet Sounds. I went to this concert because I wanted to see the genius that was Brian Wilson. And if I look at, I think about 60s music, which was kind of how I started to get into music because that's what was played in my house. Arguably two of the biggest bands are the Beatles and the Beach Boys. And in terms of, the innovators of popular music as we know it, there aren't many bigger than Brian Wilson. So I never got to see John Lennon because he was killed when I was 2. And I'm like, I got to see this guy before he dies. So, and it just as a bonus, he's playing one of the greatest albums ever, in its entirety. So, yeah, it was an incredible experience. I've seen Mike loves Beach Boys as well. And that's a different experience. That's fun, not necessarily good, but it's fun, right? It's more of a tribute band than it is the actual band, right? So yeah, I'm incredibly thankful to have seen this and hearing Brian Wilson on a white grand piano on the stage playing God Only Knows, which is one of the most incredible songs I've ever heard. Hearing him do that live has got to be one of the ultimate concert experiences of my life, for sure.
Well said.
So yeah, that's I don't know if we have anything else to add to the topic. Richard, did you have any thoughts that I didn't hear when I was upstairs, or?
No, I talked about how my father was kind of into the Endless Summer album.
Sure.
So that was played a lot in my house when I was elementary school. And like you, I didn't get into Pet Sounds until quite late.
Yeah.
Well beyond, high school, even in college. I think I picked it up. I found a copy on vinyl probably in the last 20 years. That was when I finally owned it on vinyl, but I've had it on CD. But again, like you, it wasn't something I always gravitated to. Now I'm like, it's like a musical study. It's such an interesting album, and you listen for it for different reasons now. It's not just entertaining, but you're kind of like pulling the parts apart in your head. It's an album you kind of listen and study.
Record Hound makes a great point that Brian was a production genius. I love that biopic they did, Love and Mercy, with
good
Paul, what's his name, and John Cusack. Paul Dano. And those scenes when Brian is, it's here, but he just can't get it out, and he's trying to no, you got to do this, and just do this thing the way I'm asking you to do it, even though it's crazy. Just trust me. In the end, it's going to be amazing. Just incredible stuff. That's amazing. So
yep.
Here's Chris and his documentary question. I want to know Joe's recommendation for this week. One of the best I ever saw was the Beach Boys on Disney Plus.
There, my recommendation is the movie that Rob just talked about with John Cusack and
Love and
Paul
Mercy.
Dano. Go watch that. It's good.
So
Not a
good.
documentary, but it's very, very well done, Chris. So if you haven't seen that, there you go. That's not me cheaping out. It's just I can't think of better right now because I watched it again, I don't know, like a month or so ago, but very good. Very, very good.
I don't have Smiley Smile, but I need to get it.
I think I do. I think it's back there, but
I have almost all of the first dozen albums, and they're all Canadian first pressings, and they're all in
Oh, wow.
really, really good shape. So I'm thankful for that.
I remember
All right.
the first last thought, just because when I was thinking about it, I think Bob Aran, that was my first song that I remember by those guys, and just harmonizing and everything that goes on in that song. And I mean, obviously that's maybe not the biggest and the best of, but that's my first remembering as I think about it. What did I hear first by them? And I'm pretty sure it was that. So, and now it's in your head,
I think
Richard.
the first
You're
thing
welcome.
that drew me into the Beach Boys was "In My Room." I know that's but the harmonies and that for "In My Room," that's
great
what
song.
drew me in.
Yep. Good night, Chris. You and I already talked. I'll likely be around Sunday, so I'll join you.
Good night, Chris.
Rick, I bought Endless Summer and In Concert record. It came out around the same time in '73 and was off and running with my love for the band. Saw Brian in 2015 and the Beach Boys several times. Very cool. Shitty thing is now we're left with Mike Love. Ugh.
I passed. I didn't bother. They were here a little bit ago, and I passed. I mean, I probably should have because I'd never seen any iteration, and I probably should have went, but
I did just to say, I've seen both of the Beach Boys bands, if you will.
sure.
Because Al was playing with Brian, and then there's Mike's band. I don't count what's his nuts, the keyboard player, Mike's puppy dog, whatever the hell it is, Brian Johnson or whatever the fuck his name is. I don't consider him. He's who gives a shit. So the benefit when I saw Mike Love, John Stamos was playing that show. So.
Yeah, which meant they would have sang Kokomo. So, I'm
I think they did actually. I think they did.
that would have been a bathroom break for me. Oh my god, that friggin' song!
I mean, Kokomo was a big song for me when I was a kid too. So I bought the Cocktail soundtrack just recently because of it. So
yeah, it was one of those. Quick story. It was one of those where when I was the video DJ, everybody wanted to see it because John Stamos was in it and blah blah blah. So it was just overplayed for me.
I hear you.
Anyway, yeah.
I hear you. Okay, getting into this week's topic. We're doing the one bin challenge, one cube, whatever the hell we want to call it, where we pull records from one bin or one cube or whatever in our collection, and that's all we show for the night. So instead of doing it at random, it was kind of viewer's choice. Pick a cube you want to pull records from and pull records from it, and we're gonna talk about it. Simple.
Perfect.
We've done it 3 or 4 times before. And it makes it very easy for us to put records away at the end of the night. So
That's the bottom line, man. I mean, everybody knows it's the bottom line. It's the easiest to put back away. So
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. I just have to sit on one spot on my floor. So
yeah.
So without further ado, Richard, you're our guest of the week. Because Tim's our pinch hitter. So you're our guest of the week. So take it away, Richard.
I will. So I was telling Rob that I have 32-ish cubes of records. And he was like, oh my God. And to me, that seems like a lot. Actually, it's too many. So I did the random number thing and I picked bin 23. So I pulled out 10 or so, starting with this sort of weird guy, but highly influential, fronting the band we affectionately know as the Smiths. Now he's solo and kind of a bit of a jerk, but we still love him. My biggest qualm about this is Beethoven Was Deaf. It's a live album. It is actually a really, really good album. Oh, it's a gatefold. Gotta show that.
Show it. There he is.
Hey, Mods, what's up, man? Back cover looking all cool. I don't think this is on anything. Oh, we got inner sleeve photos too. Holy.
Look at that.
Very nice.
that would have been a way better cover than that. But anyway, I digress. The original cover of this album is a lot better than this, and that's what I've noticed with Morrissey's reissues of late, is that he picks the most atrocious cover art humanly possible and just goes, good enough, done.
It almost
Correct.
looks like a bootleg.
Yeah.
It does. I mean,
Yeah.
but still, it's like some of these pictures are way better than what you actually put on the front cover. I don't
Yeah.
understand it, but anyway,
The picture of him in the gatefold. Open the gatefold again.
yeah,
It looks like Robbie Williams there. I don't know why.
It does a little bit.
that's
Yeah, it's true.
he really does. But I have, luckily, I saw Morrissey once. He came here, canceled, I think 3 times, and 4th time was the glory. He finally showed up. I got tickets off of StubHub for pretty cheap. I was like, fuck it, I'll go. It was a good time. But yeah, there's a question. Have you met Morrissey?
No, I had Morrissey. No, but he's coming to Ottawa in September. So hold that question for a few more months.
Okay,
So the answer is yes, he will meet him in September.
probably.
Very good.
But yeah, he's coming back here in October, I think, at the same venue he was at before. So I'm just kind of going, yeah, I've seen you already. Check,
Okay.
move on.
Yeah, he's coming to. There's a folk festival here in Ottawa in September. I forget who's on the same night as him. I have to check the lineup again, but he's headlining one of the nights here.
Cool. Okay, Tim, you're next.
Well, I didn't know. Like, I'm a bit of a completionist when it comes to record collecting and stuff like that. So if I picked a bin, it would be one artist. so I in lieu of like the whole Brian Wilson thing, I just picked the B, A's, B's, C, like just the front bit of the alphabet.
Perfect.
And so rather than I saved it instead of, I know you guys already showed this record, but I had to show it.
Oh, of course, yours is signed. Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't it be?
Yeah, I had to do. Well, it's funny. There is a story. Like, there's a story, but no story to this. So if you notice, it's missing Al Jardine.
I got Al Jardine.
So
So there you go. You guys can put them together in a frame, and away you go.
You have them?
There's Al right there.
Nice.
Hold on, let me make myself big now. Hold on.
Let's see. Yeah. See.
This is Mike. So Mike where this finger is, and Al's over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I've not met either of them. This I bought, but it's authenticated and certified.
Oh no, it looks real. I can tell from here. Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, it is.
But so it's funny because I had to basically bus bounce for this. It's kind of cool because Brian here. I mean, that's just the way he signs,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
But down here he wrote "Good Vibes."
Nice.
Kind of cool.
Oh wow.
That's awesome.
But it's funny. I don't have Al Jardine on here because it's funny because I was walking around downtown and they were playing at a festival and you could hear the sound check going on. And I had nothing on me at the time. It was too early. But I'm just walking around and you could hear Beach Boys music being played from the stage. And I'm going to get a coffee. It's like 10, 11 in the morning. And it's like I go to a Starbucks, I get my coffee, I come out, and next to the Starbucks is like a pretty nice hotel, the Lord Elgin. I don't know if you guys.
Yeah, I know what it is. Yeah.
So, I'm like, I do a double take. I'm like, holy shit, it's Al Jardine, and he's just having lunch like at the restaurant in front of Lord Elgin, and I'm like, I had to go up to him. I had nothing on me, but I'm like, Al, like, shouldn't you be over there? Like, he's like, no, we don't do sound check. We're too old for that.
Wow.
But at the end of the night, because I went to the show and I had to bus bounce, but they have their own buses and stuff, and I couldn't find Al's. So don't have Al.
Well, I'm just thrilled for once I have one that Tim doesn't. So. No, I've not met him, but like I said, I got it at least.
There you
Very
go.
cool. Very cool. That's awesome, man. That's
cool.
That's very, very cool.
But
Okay.
what do you say about Pet Sounds, right? What do you say?
Without Pet Sounds, there would be no Sergeant Pepper.
That's right.
That's what they tell
And
us.
And there'd probably be no Revolver. And
Right.
the Beatles may not have taken the step that they did and may not be as memorable as they are. So,
Do you have a favorite track off Pet Sounds, any of you guys? Or
God only
John B.
knows.
Sleep.
God only knows. Caroline No is always, I like Caroline No a lot. Sloop John B is kind of strange.
Wouldn't it be nice as always? Wouldn't
Never
it be nice
really
as always fun? Sorry.
No, so-
What are we saying, Joe?
I was just going to say, wouldn't it be nice is always fun because, I mean, obviously you listen to it, it's all poppy and flowery and stuff. And really, he just wants to sleep with her because wouldn't it be nice if we could just do this now instead of having to wait is the bottom line of that song, right? So kind of.
It's not the
It's
moral
just
of all of our lives. Wouldn't it be nice?
It's just the Beach Boys way of saying, come on, let's do this now, right? So wouldn't it be nice with harmonization and everything else? So, but
Exactly.
yeah.
All
it's
right,
good.
Joe, you're up.
I'm up. All right. So I did ask my lovely wife. I said, pick a number between 1 and 57. And in honor of Carlos Sainz, one of her F1 guys who has moved over to Williams this year because it is, as we mentioned, F1 weekend in Canada this weekend. It's bin number 55. And this is a brand new one to bin number 55. And it's 3 young ladies from Mexico, sisters called The Warning. I asked you, Rob, if you were familiar with. I'm not sure,
And I
guys,
wasn't,
if you,
no.
either of you know. Yeah, they are one of those that did a cover song. It hit YouTube, and then it got played a lot. They did Enter Sandman, and Halford liked it, and he passed it along, and they grew and they grew. But for the last, I think, 4 years, 5 years, it's all been their own material. 3 sisters, they play everything. It's just the 3 of them. They're just a trio, and they're really good. The writing is really good. It's a little heavier. It's not metal by any means, but it's heavier. You could lump them in. And this is, I think, the second. I think the first was a bit of an EP. This is the most recent. They did have a single. What the hell was it called? You Liar. Yeah, that's it. So just really good. That single's been around for a while, and this is one of those albums, like I was talking about, where I needed to fill in so that shipping was a little bit less. So this is one that, let's get The Warning, and it is actually very good. So, if you like your rock and roll by 3 young Mexican girls, there you go. And it's good. It's really good, actually. So I recommend. And that is one of my newest, and that because mine is bin 55, so it's going to be the W's, the X, the Y's, and the Z's, Z's. I don't know, whatever.
Zeds. We're Canadian, Joe.
Yes, I know, but I was just at ZZ Top because I still can't say it Zed Top because that's
No,
just
that's fair.
weird. That's just weird, man.
That's fair. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to give you guys a choice of what I'm going to show first. Do you want an obscure act you've never heard of that has an interesting story, or do you want an album you didn't know existed by a band that's huge? Pick one. You're going to see them both eventually. So
Okay, I want an album that exists that I didn't know existed by a band that was huge. That's my vote. Don't just go by me. I could be outruled.
what's your pick, Tim?
+1. Yeah. What Joe said.
Okay, well, majority rules.
I
Okay,
heard it.
For you, Richard.
I think I've shown this before. The Gollywogs. You guys know who they are?
I have no clue.
Maybe because you've showed it before, maybe, but no.
Gollywogs changed their name and became Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Oh, yes.
That being John right there, right?
This is all
Not
of
the one
them.
with the
So,
short sleeves. Under the D.
John and Stu, Tom and Doug, I think. So I picked bin whatever the hell number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, which is essentially my C's. Now this is the Gollywogs, but obviously I file it with Creedence because it is Creedence. So this is it's called Fight Fire, the complete recordings from 64 to 67. So they started off as the Gollywogs, and Tom Fogerty, John's brother, was the principal songwriter. And they did nothing. and they were about to be dropped from their label. And the label was suggesting you got to change your name to something a little more appealing. So they changed it to Creedence Clearwater Revival, and John took a turn at writing a couple songs, and the rest is history. And most of this sounds nothing like Creedence, but there are a few songs as you get towards the end, which are in 67, that John starts to sing, and you go, okay, that's starting to sound a little like Creedence. It lacks all of those sort of signature John Fogerty guitar licks. When you think Creedence songs, you think of those guitar licks that are the signature of every, I could pull one of these guitar off the wall and play about 5 different licks, and you'll be like, yeah, that's Proud Mary. That's Bad Moon Rising. Like, the songs because of the guitar licks, right? And the Gollywogs don't have that. So it's interesting that, with a few minor tweaks in how they operated, they became a band that put out more successful singles in an entirely short period of time, more than just about anybody did. So this is a very interesting record, and because I own everything that Creedence put out, when I saw this in the store, I'm like, cool. I didn't know that there was a pre Creedence. So this is a gatefold. I got to show it. It's just kind of got some early photos and pictures of some singles that absolutely flopped, and a little sort of a comprehensive early history of Creedence Clearwater Revival, also known as the Gollywogs.
They were, why can't I remember the name of when you opened up the gatefold, the name of their record label? Because there's not a lot of others that are on, but they stayed with that one record label.
Fantasy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but that's already on there, or that they started already at that point. Eh? Yeah, well, that's cool. Yep. That's good.
They're originally on Scorpio, which I don't know is a division of Fantasy. I really don't know, but they've been with Fantasy forever, and Saul Zaentz, which is another one of those. Richard and I were talking about music dickheads before we went live. He's another one. So,
there you go.
So, yeah, an interesting record. I mean, it's not one that you go to a lot because it, like I said, it doesn't sound like Creedence, but as a Creedence fan, it's a good one to have.
Deadly. I forgot to show the poster because it wasn't a gatefold, but there is a poster of the warning.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. And they're I'll agree with that.
You had me at 3 young Mexican women. That had me interested.
Yeah, I had myself at that as well. I don't disagree with that. Exactly. So, and then one other thing, because I got to say it when I think of it. Has that David Bowie poster always been up behind your head, or is that new, Tim? Because I have that exact poster.
Oh, the Archer.
The art. Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually. Do you know the person that took the photo? John Rollins.
No, I just know that Joanne, my lovely wife, has that exact frame. It used to be up on the wall.
It's pretty big.
Hold on, let me full size you there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
That's cool.
So, a friend of mine knows him, and he gifted me this.
Wow,
wonderful.
Yeah. So John Rollins is the guy that took the photograph. And I guess before David Bowie passed away, he actually had some of these signed. This one's not signed by David Bowie, but it's signed by. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's John. So the photographer signed it. But yeah, it's a beautiful shot.
I just never noticed it. If it's been up there all along, I never noticed it because, like I said.
It was up there, and it's the same. It's the same as. Do you see my Beatles one up there?
Yeah,
that one. He took that shot too.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think what we learned is that Tim really needs to start a YouTube channel because he has a better record room than everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
But I don't know the photographer personally, but a good friend of mine knows him, and he goes. I don't know, he's a trusted friend of his, and he kind of makes him go to Toronto. He lives in Toronto actually. And he kind of he's worried about people taking advantage of his negatives and stuff like that. So he's kind of entrusting my friend to kind of take care of it for him. Like, anyway,
Wow.
so he just said, "Hey, I got like hundreds of these. Do you want one?" I'm like, "Sure."
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Oh, there's a really cool. Are you a Rolling? I know. Sorry to just to. It just kind of. There's a really cool. Are any of you guys Rolling Stones fans?
Yeah.
Show it.
There's Mick Jagger's legs. You can kind of see him in the background.
This
It's
is
actually Keith Richards' legs too.
This was taken at Maple Leaf Gardens, June 17th, 1975. Look at
Well,
that
that'll
shot.
work.
That is wicked, eh?
Yeah.
Can you see
Very
that
cool.
where he's throwing the bucket into the glare sucks, but
No, we can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
yeah.
Very cool.
Very nice. All right, Richard, where are we going next?
I'm lost in the thoughts that my record room looks like shit compared to that.
Me too, man. Fuck. You can't compete.
No.
It
Everybody's
can't be helped.
Everybody's space
All right.
is everybody's space.
This is true.
Yeah, but you could have space envy.
Yeah,
Space
sure. That's
envy.
fair. Yeah, okay, fine. Fine.
All right, we're going to go to the land of Husker Du and one Bob Mold. This was a record store day release and hasn't been released since. Maybe 4 years ago. Can't remember. It's called Circle of Friends. This was filmed at a show in Washington, D.C. at the 930 Club, where I have seen him many times when I lived in D.C. The 930 Club's like just an iconic venue, and anyone who's pretty much anyone has, done a show there. But anyway, this is a live double album from, what era? It has Ego Override on it and Helpless and Change Your Mind. I'm guessing this is from the Hubcap era. I just can't remember. I know that this show took place so it was 2005 because it was about 2.5 years after I moved. So I could have been at this show, but it's also on DVD. It has a lot of early Husker Du stuff, Sugar stuff, solo Bob stuff. I love this era of him because he had just decided to get back into electric, loud Bob, if you will, playing with the band. Usually has been a trio, but a lot of the times when I saw him when I lived in DC, it was always solo Bob doing acoustic shows with a little electric, and that was about it. Then a couple of other shows that I saw in DC and Baltimore. I was going up and down the coast to see shows. It was fun. But anyway, this is a nifty one because it's pretty much out of print now. So I'm happy to have this one in my hot little hands.
Good.
But good, loud Bob Mold album. Just saying.
Very good. Okay, Tim.
All right. Well, this is a guy that I don't think ever gets really talked about much.
Brian Adams?
If you no, this is for real. So this guy, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this guy. He's a sessional. He has his own stuff. Is this a gatefold? No. He's a sessional, or he plays with a lot of bands. Guns N' Roses, I believe, is one for sure. I don't know if he plays with Zakk Wylde or anything like that, but he's got some solo stuff. It's phenomenal. This guy is a crazy ass guitar player. He wears a KFC bucket on his head with a Michael Myers mask.
Yep.
Yeah, Buckethead.
Yeah.
He's
Love
got
that.
yeah.
Love me
Yeah.
some Buckethead. Love that. I don't know if you guys ever listened to him, but it's instrumental. But it's all kill switches and whammy bars and just wicked guitar playing.
He's got a ton of albums, does he not?
He's got a ton.
Yeah. I never saw GNR in that time frame when he was playing with them because he's on Chinese Democracy, if I remember correctly, and then was touring when it was just Axl and no originals, but he was one of. So yeah.
But yeah, crazy. Very cool art too.
And all the chicken that he can eat for free,
That's
I would
right.
assume. Maybe
Yeah,
not. Maybe
that's-
I bet he actually got a cease and desist, you'd think, somewhere along the line, maybe. I don't know.
I don't
Doesn't-
know.
He's not offensive by any means. It'd be different if it was,
No,
he was
no.
stupid with a chicken bucket.
And I don't
Now,
think anyone.
now I'm craving chicken.
Not that we all haven't done something stupid with a chicken bucket. Wait a minute.
I
I
don't
don't
think
going to say
anyone-
we've all done something stupid with a chicken.
I don't think anyone knows who it is. I think he's kept his
I think so.
identity under lock and key pretty well.
Let's Google it.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's Google
Who
it.
is Buckethead?
Okay.
But some of the
Wow.
some of the videos online, he's just crazy on the guitar. The guy's
Oh, his name is Brian Patrick Carroll.
oh okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Born May 13th, 1969 in Pomona, California.
Hmm.
So there you go.
I've been to Pomona.
Okay.
Not that that matters in any way, shape, or form, but I've been to Pomona.
Fair
I think.
enough.
I'm pretty sure.
All right, Joe. It's your turn now.
Okay. Quickly again, because it just popped into my head when we mentioned fantastic, amazing guitar players, I would rate Phil X as one of those guys. And Phil X, two guys from Took, Brent Fitz, Todd Kearns,
Yeah.
and 2 of 3 of Triumph, because the third guy only in Canada would you not pass up a 4-month wait to get into your doctor to miss a reunion tour concert show with your buddies. But
Right.
that's why.
That's because our free medical care sucks.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so for those that don't know what the hell I'm talking about, 2 guys from Triumph, and then Brent and Todd from lots of things, and then Phil X, most notably, I guess, of Bon Jovi as of late, got together before the Oilers concert, before the Oilers hockey game the other night.
Game 2 of the playoffs. Yeah.
3 songs. I'm not sure if it will lead to anything more than that. It'd be cool if it would, but because I saw them forever ago. And yeah, like I said, the third member couldn't go because he had a doctor's appointment in Toronto that it took him 4 months to get in, and he just couldn't pass up going to this
Right.
doctor's appointment. So, but
But
anyway,
I mean, Phil X was a good choice because Phil X was a member of the band in the 90s.
yeah, no, that's the thing exactly. I mean, it was still a fantastic group of Canadian guys playing 3 songs, including "Lay It on the Line," which I guess the Oilers are using at some point. They have some more motivational songs than when you go to church. There's La Bamba, is there not? And then they're playing Pink Pony Club after a win in the locker room or something. And then they're playing "Lay It on the Line." But anyway, without further ado,
Back when Phil was with Triumph back in the 90s, that's when my dad knew him. He used to hang out with him from time to time.
yeah. I'm always a Triumph fan, always a big Triumph fan. And I'd take a reunion or even a couple off shows.
Sure.
Up next, Richard, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with these guys, the Waterboys.
Very much so.
I'm in the WXYZs, and this is, I think, is this first album. This has the biggest song, notably, somewhat, I guess, with "Hole of the Moon," and just good stuff. I listened to it again today, and it's very eclectic. It kind of rolls all over the place a little bit, but it's very good. So this is "The Sea" by the Waterboys. I'm breaking Mazzy's rule or whatever the hell it is, and have it in the sleeve still. But that's a little bit better. 4 albums, 3 for sure, maybe 4, and they don't stray too far. But this is back to, when was this? 1985. Good Lord. That's 40 years old already. The Waterboys should not be 40 bloody years old already, but yet they are. So there you go. That's my next offering. Good album. Really good. I would give it a listen if you're not familiar with. I don't know. What would you – I don't know what to compare them to. That's always tough sometimes, unless they're very pigeonholed. But I don't know. Richard, thoughts on a comparison maybe?
I can't offhand. I can't think. Oh, they sound like fill in the blank,
Right.
Because all of their albums are fairly different. I mean, that's nothing like Fisherman's Blues. So
No, exactly. That's the thing. Like a lot, I think more piano on here, or at least it comes through. At least I don't know. It's good stuff. Give it a listen if you're in the mood for just some good, straightforward. I can't label it music. There you go.
I got into that. The video for "Don't Bang the Drum" came on MTV's 120 Minutes, so it
Yeah.
came under the kind of alt music college radio umbrella then.
Sure. Yeah, I mean that if you had to put them in something, alt would do, 90s alternative-ish, but then folky a little bit, I think, as well, maybe. Anyway,
Yeah.
there you go. Oh, hello, Brian.
How you doing, Brian? Okay, my turn.
Your
I'm
turn,
doing a twofer because I can, and I'm gonna.
because it's your show.
It's a twofer because it's two albums by the same artist that I just got this week. I got a great deal on a lot of 5 records, and I'm going to show 2 of them. So the first one I'm going to show, and the 2 that I'm showing out of the lot of 5 are 2 that I've been looking for a long time. So I got these 5 records off eBay with, and 3 of the 5 are brand new. 2 of them are used. 2 I'm going to show are used. And with the exchange rate and shipping from the U.S., it still cost me less than $100. So they're less than $20 a record. And so it was a great deal. So this is the first one I'm going to show. If I can get it out of the plastic. I've been looking for this forever. Neko Case. You guys know Neko Case?
Oh, yeah. I just saw her in the fall. She's awesome.
She is awesome. I've never seen her. This is Neko Case and her boyfriends. This is Furnace Room Lullaby, which came out, I don't know when, late 2000s, I think.
Maybe
No, early
5 or
2000s.
2005, maybe, or 6.
1999, I think.
Hmm.
1999. It's a gatefold. Here's the inside of the gatefold, rather unremarkable. Neko is a great songwriter, very powerful voice. She's a great performer. My interest in this record was some of her boyfriends. I'm a big fan of the Sadies, sort of the alt country rock band from Toronto, and the Sadies are on this record. So because I have just about everything that the Sadies put out, and they've done records with a lot of people, blues, country, rock, all kinds of stuff. I've been looking for this for quite a while. So this was in that lot, and this was actually the main reason that I decided to bid on this lot, which no one else bid on, which is why I got it for a steal. And I get this record home, and I put it on the turntable. And I'm opening it up, and I'm reading all of the people that are on here. And I'm coming along the list, and I'm like, Bob Egan. I know that guy. Bob is a dear friend of mine. There's a picture of him in here. If I can get the... There's Bob, right? Where am I showing you? Right there. There's
Nice.
Bob. This was just around the time he was leaving Wilco before he joined Blue Rodeo. Years before he became a good friend of mine. So I'm listening to this and going, well, I bought this because I like Neko Case and I like the Sadies, but I had no idea my buddy was on this album. So as I'm listening to it, I text Bob and I go, hey, man, I just picked up Furnace Room Lullaby. I had no idea you played on. He goes, oh, yeah, shit, that was a great record. Neko's one of those, starts telling me stories about Neko. And he goes, yeah, the day that I was in there, I was recording with Ron Sexsmith because he's on this record as well. So great record. Was thrilled to finally add this to the collection. And the other record I'll show is probably my favorite Neko Case record. I've had it on CD for years. This was a Record Store Day reissue. This is Middle Cyclone, which came out in 2009. Great record. And there's a ton of people on this as well.
Yeah.
Chief among them, Garth Hudson from the band. And the Sadies are on this record too. So again, right in my wheelhouse, the Sadies, Neko, the band. This is also a gatefold, so I got to show it.
That's pretty good.
And this is a Record Store Day. I don't know if there's actually a regular pressing of it or not. I don't think so.
There is.
Is
I
there?
have the regular pressing here.
So this one's on clear vinyl, which is kind of neat. So there you go. 2 Neko Case records. The other 3 records that were in that bundle was Neko's last record. It was the deluxe edition. And then 2 albums by the New Pornographers, which is a Canadian alt-rock band of which Neko is a member. So it was the Neko Case bundle that I paid less than $100 for 5 records. So can't beat it.
And she's from New York or Philadelphia or something, but really has been in Canada forever, right? Like as honorary Canadian, and really at this point with all the people she's performed with, and I think lives in Vancouver now too. I think, or
I have no idea, but yeah, we'll give her honorary status.
That's right. Get that lady a hockey jersey and away we go.
Exactly. So there you go.
Deadly. That's cool.
Jason, I saw your text. I'm not reading any more of them because I'm going to crack up and lose my shit. And that would be unprofessional. So I'm not going to read any more of your texts that you sent me tonight. Okay. Let's go around again. Richard.
Again? Oh, I'm back.
Again.
Next up in the alphabet, we're still on M. We're at the MU. This is the only album I like by this band. I have a lot of their albums on CD, but this is the only one I could tolerate, by Muse. And Muse is a UK alt indie hard rock outfit. I love the cover art on this. I love the gatefold on this, and just like artwork for days, except on the back cover where there's absolutely nothing. Who knew? But we got some inner sleeve action. A one-sided poster, I guess. That's not very exciting. But the thing I can't tolerate about Muse beyond this album is the lead singer's voice. He has this tendency to vocalize when he's breathing in, and I hear it every single time he does it, and it drives me shit.
Once you heard it once, yeah, then that was it.
Right. If you notice it, and then you always notice it, and I've noticed it every single time. I was like, I can't do this. So I have 3 or 4 albums on CD. This one is least noticeable, and I like the songs on here better anyway. So, yep, it's Muse 2001 album, Origin of Symmetry. This is really good. The rest of their stuff, it depends. If you can
all of the artwork on that album makes up for Morrissey's album, right? So,
correct.
Yeah.
I 1000% agree with you.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really say who did it, does it? David Holdari? Don't know.
Not sure.
Yeah, some dude.
Perfect. There you go. Some dude.
I think I've determined why you have so many records, Richard, because when you have a record, when you go, this is the only album by them I can stand. Well, if that's your threshold for buying a record, maybe you have too many. I can barely stand this.
Higher than that. At the time, well, I bought that came out as a reissue. It was the first time on vinyl, according to the hype that I just ripped off there a minute ago. Came out in 2009. So I was into the album when it first came out. There was a period from 2000 to about 2006 that I was just buying shit tons of CDs and stuff from England. And Amazon UK was constantly, and it was cheap to send things back then, where now it's extortionate. So I got into the Feeders and the Biffy Clyros and the Muses and another band I'll show you in a minute in rapid succession, because they were interesting and they were music I wasn't hearing in the States because they were playing all this top 40 crap that I couldn't stand. So that's kind of how that evolved and continues to evolve.
You just took the shrink off of that with the hype stick. You just did. So you're going to need a nice outer sleeve for that album. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I think I do.
Okay.
Do you have a source for those?
I do. I would recommend. I'm not sure if you've heard of them or not, but it's a place called vinylstoragesolutions.ca. It's a Canadian company, but they ship to the States. And there's a promo code. If you use it, it's promo code Northern10. It gets you 10% off. So it kind of offsets a little bit of the shipping costs. But they've got wonderful outer sleeves to protect that beautiful art. And in fact, they've got ones that you can still open the gatefold, and you can still see that wonderful gatefold with the sleeve on. So check out vinylstoragesolutions.ca. But if you do, use the code Northern10 as the promo code for an extra 10% off.
Got it.
Just a suggestion. Just a quick suggestion off the top of my head.
And a good one. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
All right. Tim, what do you got for us?
No, man. So I wouldn't probably show these, but because they fell in my bin, it makes for a funny story. So I will show them. So both these people were in town the same day. And so I went to look for this band in hopes to get them signed. But out comes this band, which makes the funny story. So I don't have really particularly, again, this is one of these records where what do you say about this record? Everybody probably owns it, knows every track and every beat. Okay, so I'm waiting for these guys. Okay, I'm waiting for these guys. But you know who comes out first while I'm waiting for these guys? Do you have any? I'm gonna just hold this record up and dodge because I'm probably gonna get empty beer cans thrown at me.
It's not Nickelback, is it? Oh shit, that's even worse. Oh god. Boo.
So where were the Backstreet Boys and
so
Def Leppard?
These guys were playing at like the Canadian Tire Center, where the Senators play,
yeah.
and these guys were playing at a smaller arena. These guys were at the smaller arena.
Yeah.
Makes
So
no sense.
it just made for a hilarious story. I'm waiting for Joe Elliott and Rick Allen, and out comes Brian, and it just makes for hilarious. I'm just like, oh, okay.
Cool.
It just made for a hilarious story.
Can you imagine, they're staying in the same hotel and they bump into each other in the lobby? Like, what's that conversation, right?
Well, they were, right? That's
Yeah.
so, yeah. So that was just
A
funny.
lot of the
I saw it in the bin. I'm like, oh, fuck, I'll show it.
Yeah, you gotta show it. That's great.
There was probably a lot of groupie crossover though, so there was that. Right? That's the time frame for both, I think, kind of.
Yep.
So
But I mean, for any kid who's grown up in the 90s, I mean, I'm not a fan of the Backstreet Boys nor New Kids on the Block per se, but like I don't know, their music is etched in my brain, unfortunately.
Yeah.
yeah.
We need Sam in the comments. He's
That's-
a big Backstreet Boys fan.
I know I was.
Okay, Joe.
All right.
Try and top that, I guess. How do you follow the Backstreet?
Really.
With anything.
True. You
I
can
will
follow
go
that
with,
with a bowel movement, and it would be better.
I'll go with one of the original punk bands, or at least in my humble opinion. Anyway, I think the Who were a little punk before there was punk, but arguably anyway. And this is the Who Sells Out. So with the old baked beans, I'm surprised that one actually got through, but it did. And then on the back, you've got this is probably one of my favorite ever shots ever. So that's so fantastic. But Keith Moon with his big red blotch on his face. But the Who and the Who Sell Out. This is an original. I Can See for Miles. I'm not sure exactly. This is part of the fun, I think. And you can't really see it, but it says 7-Eleven $1.27. So I'm not exactly sure what the 7-Eleven part is, and then I'm not exactly sure what the $1.27 is, because I think Heinz baked beans were more than $1.27 at 7-Eleven, if you could. But anyway, this is back to, what is this, 1960? This has to be 60s, early 70s. When is it? It doesn't really matter. It is what it is. But yeah, just a great album. It's got I Can See for Miles. I always liked the Who. Had a chance to finally got a chance to see them. I don't know, 10 years ago now, and they're still touring. Although Ringo's kid today is playing the drums. Yesterday wasn't playing the drums. Tomorrow might be playing the drums.
No, he's been fired again.
Yeah, I know.
So
Roger, shut up, man. Just either go away or just let the kid play the drums. Let the kid. The kid's probably 40 at this point. I just say the kid because it's Ringo Starr's kid, right? But he was really good, and they were really good. Roger was off a little bit, but just to see Pete Townsend play guitar, and BP Townsend was pretty cool still. So even if it was at a latter stage of it was the Who Hits 50. So yeah, it was their 50th anniversary tour or whatever. So it was good, but that's a good album. I pull that one out every once in a while. Maybe not the best, but it's pretty good and interesting cover art. Andy Warhol like, I suppose, kind of, maybe. But there you go.
All right. I'm going to show one that is music no one cares about, but I think it's an interesting record. So we're going to go with that. This is an album called Rock and Roll Joe. So for point of explanation, this is a collaborative album between John Platania, Kendall Carson, and Chip Taylor. So here's the story. Chip Taylor is a singer-songwriter. He is the singer-songwriter that wrote Angel of the Morning, and he wrote Wild Thing. That's his claim to fame. His real name is actually James Voight. He's John Voight, the actor. It's his brother. Chip Taylor is his stage name. So Chip owns a record label in New York called Trainwreck Records. And John Platania is on that label, and he is Van Morrison's guitar player and has been for 50 years. And Kendall Carson's my buddy. I've known Kendall for 15 years. She's a fiddle player from British Columbia. She has been the fiddle player for Alan Doyle from Great Big Sea. She's been his fiddle player for a decade now. She's played with Elvis Costello. She's played with a shit ton of people. And the interesting thing about this is they wanted to do an album honoring the unsung heroes of rock and roll, as you can see. So the session musicians that have played on tons of stuff that no one has ever heard of. And it's kind of their tribute to them, which is kind of interesting because that's sort of what these guys do. All three of them have made careers playing on other people's records, but you have no idea who they are. So it's kind of a Americana rootsy kind of thing. I own it because Kendall's my buddy. This came out in 2011. She had a falling out with Chip Taylor and left his label and went on to play with Alan and has had a very, very successful career since then. But yeah, kind of just an interesting record. You've never heard it, and you probably never will, and no one ever cares about it. But I just think the story behind it is intriguing. So there you have it.
Good story.
Kendall is my favorite fiddle player.
Yeah, mine too. She's a cool person and a sweetheart, and yeah, been on a bunch of stuff. So very cool. Okay.
So do you think he goes, John Voight's my brother or Angelina Jolie is my niece?
He doesn't really talk about either, which is why he changed his name, because he would prefer to be known as Chip Taylor and you know, I mean, he's still close with his brother by all accounts, but quick story. I don't know the reason that Kendall and Chip had a falling out, but she put out 2 albums on Trainwreck back. The last one came out in 2009. It's called All Right Dynamite. It's an amazing record. I have it. It's only available on CD. They recorded another album after that, but it wasn't released. And just about 2 years ago, Chip decided to put out the album without her consent, and she was not too happy about it. So I have it, and it's pretty good, but it was released without. I guess he owns the master, so he can do whatever the hell he wants with it. But she was not too happy that an album was put out without her involvement in the final release of it, and that's kind of a dick move, I think. So, talking about dickheads in music, Richard, you know, there's another one to add to the list.
So. That's got to be, you know, one of these nights. That's got to be the theme: dickheads in music.
I think we can do that. Yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, let's go around again. Richard,
Alrighty.
You're up. Well, you go. I'm going to just quickly go say goodnight to my son. So I'll be right back.
We'll try to pad it out a bit.
Yeah.
So like I was saying, in the 2000s, I was just really invested in finding new bands to me that were, you know, kind of speaking to my musical tastes. And one of them, just because Muse and Biffy Clyro and Feeder, which they were kind of in there too. And I'm even trying to think back how I found out about these acts, because 2000 was kind of the early days of internet becoming, nothing like it is now. So I can't even think if I was just downloading stuff or if it was just like sound samples or whatever. But I found a band called The Music, and they're out of, my brain is not working. They're either Manchester or Leeds. I know they're north of in England. Their first album was just, you want to talk about the most ungoogleable band in history, The Music. Google that.
Yeah. Nope.
The Music album, 50 million hits. Anyway, but it's a really cool album. It's not out on vinyl, but anyway, I've seen them live twice because they played Lollapalooza in 93. No, 2000, whatever it was, when they reinstated Lollapalooza as a touring thing. And I think Queens of Stone Age were headlining that year. But anyway, saw them on a side stage, and then I went to England and actually saw them in London. So the band is called The Music. They have had, this is their live album that they kind of got back together again a few years ago, live at the Temple Museum, which I think is somewhere up in the north of England. I don't know these things. I don't live there. I wish I did sometimes.
Yeah.
My God, the concerts and some of the records those UK lot find, holy shit.
Yeah.
I get very jealous. But anyway, this was actually kind of a worldwide release on YouTube. You can actually find this set, and it's really, really good. It goes through pretty much everything they used to do. And Take the Long Road and Walk It was their first single, and that was the one that hooked me. It just had this circular riff to it that's just jammy and psyche and very psychedelic and fun. Their audience was just heaving through this whole show. Gatefold alert. Da, 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 da.
Live. Yeah.
So what is this? Oh, that's a receipt. We don't want that. There we go. That's better. I don't want to know how much I paid for this because this had to get shipped from England. But anyway, yeah. Is there any more pictures in here? Oh, there are. Okay, these are good pictures too.
Yeah, I always wonder if I was to go over there, if I just have to like buy a shipping container to send stuff back, because because I don't know. Have you been to that part of the world? I've never been over there, overseas.
I've been to England. Now, keep in mind, when the last time I went to England was in the early, 2008 was the last time. I went several years in a row. But then that was the CD age. And buying CDs and bringing those home in a carry-on was easy. Vinyl? I would have a hard time.
I just wonder if it's, if it's like finding Jerry Rafferty albums over there of where stuff like that. So is stuff like that, I wonder, is that in the $5 bin? No. Is that, who knows, right? Because as you said, if you were to go over there, you could just choose 20 different albums that you never heard and just take a shot, and you're probably knowing the area or whatever that you're in, you're probably knowing, hell, if I get 10 out of 20, I'm doing okay at that point.
Exactly.
Kind of. Yeah.
I watch, there's the Thursday night live stream for them is during the day here. It's that Ranking the Obscure, and there's 4 older guys, my age-ish, and they're talking about, we went to the Leeds Record Fair that they have every month. And I'm like, God, I hate you.
yeah, exactly.
I found another copy of Gary Newman's Whatever, and I'm just like, we don't have that here. And I got this for £1 at a car boot sale, but fuck you, I hate this. We don't have car boot sales in America.
Rob Walker's always rubbing it in whenever I'm on scene with him. But I love Rob.
He's amazing shit too. It was like,
yes, but he's from Manchester. I'm a big Oasis fan. And he's always rubbing in this, like, he's got all some of the original Oasis stuff, or he's got Stop the Clocks. I'm like, God damn it, Rob. Just rub it in, man. That stuff doesn't even make it over here, let alone for how cheap you're buying it for.
I commented on his, the 12-inch thing he was doing for his 200 video.
Yeah.
And so what is the culture like on this side of the pond for 12-inch singles? And I'm like, it kind of had its heyday during the DJ era, and that was really about it.
Yeah.
It's not a thing that much anymore.
No. I've got a bin full of them over there, but you're right. It's back from the day, or it's because I picked up a collection and there was a bunch of them in there, and I kept the ones with covers or all the cement
in the 80s. And I remember you too did a ton of 12 inches, even up into the late 90s. But
a couple of those, that's about it.
And Oasis did some in the late 90s and the early 2000s, but you don't see them much anymore after that.
It's all friggin' digital.
Yeah. And thank God, because if we were buying 12-inch singles, we'd be damn broke, right?
That's true.
And we'd have, Richard would have 52 bins, not 32. Right? So
we don't want that.
No, we don't.
Yeah. Bins are cheap. Bins are cheap.
No, it's not just the bins are cheap. It's where to put the damn things. Your house gets full.
I know.
Okay, Tim.
Sure.
You're up.
Actually, well,
he's doing an audible here.
Uh-oh.
Where's he going? What's he doing?
no, well, just in light of the David Bowie, like I'm a huge Bowie fan, so I'll just pull out any random Bowie.
Very nice.
Crack actor. This is an RSD release, I believe, from his 1974 show. I love me my David Bowie. Actually, my son's really into David Bowie right now.
How old's your son?
He's 5. He just turned 5 in March.
5, and he's into Bowie. That's cool.
Yeah. We couldn't find him a David Bowie shirt his size, so I went over to the, those places where you can just kind of upload a photo, make a shirt. Yeah. So he's got a Ziggy Stardust shirt, and it's so funny.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I don't know about how big fans of you guys are, but big Bowie fan. My dad got me into David Bowie. He liked stuff like Heathen and like Slip Away and the later stuff. But
you've not met David Bowie
and Young Americans. He liked Young Americans, and
did you ever meet
I guess
Bowie?
Lennon is all over, eh? Like he's part of Fame, and they did Across the Universe. He did a version of Across the Universe on that album.
Yep. Yeah. You never met David Bowie, I assume.
I have not, but my friend that gave me those photos, he's met him backstage. Like,
oh shit.
Yeah, because he used to run a music store, and do you remember Music World back in the day?
Yeah.
Do you remember Music World? So
yeah.
He was one of the managers of Music World, so he was backstage at everything.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he met David Bowie, but
very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, Joe.
I'm up, eh? All right, we're gonna go. We're gonna go a little country because I don't have mine genre specific. I just have them in order by name. And here's the part where y'all give me shit for having Willie Nelson in the W's, but I don't give a rat's ass because that's the way I want it. So go ahead, Rob. Say it.
It's wrong.
Yeah, I know. I
agree with the genre thing, but that's under N, not W.
Okay. I get away with the genre. I just don't get away with the placement.
Right.
All right, fair enough. But yeah, there's Willie 95 a couple days ago, a week ago, I think 95-ish, something like that. Well preserved. I guess he's not a drunk. He's a weed guy. So I don't know if well preserved or not, if weed preserves you or not. But anyway, pretty good life. Wrote a lot of really, really good music. Has probably more stories than anybody else from the tour. And that guitar, that's got to go. I don't know where that's got to go. I don't know if that goes
to Rock and Roll for sure,
or the Smithsonian, one or the other. Like, I mean, it would be at home in either place. And it is a gatefold. I'm not even sure what's in the middle. Oh, it's the young stranger himself. Look at that. That's an old picture, and he's already 70. I'm not sure, but yeah, I had a chance to see Willie once. We have a big country festival here every year. It used to be called the Big Valley Jamboree, and I was working at a country radio station, and I had a chance to see him, and he was good, but most of the time he was actually just facing backwards talking to his band. I don't know if he didn't want to be there. I don't know if that's just a standard Willie Nelson show or not, but it was good. So I would put him in legendary status. So I'd say I saw him, and I would put him in legendary status again. A lot of songs. I was gonna pull out Stardust, because Stardust is a pretty fantastic album. A little bit of standard for him in that, but you can't go wrong. And then you throw some Waylon in there with him, or you throw all the other guys that he has been with and done stuff with. So and still touring, still playing, still doing what he can. So it's good. This is the greatest hits. I don't know if there were that many. I mean, I guess there were hits per se. It almost could just be called the best of versus hits, because I guess he hasn't really had one of those for a while. But On the Road Again, it's just songs that will live on forever. Georgia on My Mind, that was his before it was Ray's. Well, it's Ray's song, really, but he wrote that, of course. But Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, Good Hearted Woman, Whiskey River, it's just good stuff. So there you go, little Willie Nelson, the red-headed stranger, his old self.
On the subject of Willie, keep your eyes out. If you ever see one of those Highwaymen albums come into your store, set it aside for me. I've been looking for years and never seen one. I could buy it online, but that's no fun.
No, I know. No, I'm the same way. I'm exactly the same way. I thought I had it, and then I went looking for it. I don't. So 2 would have to come in. But
they did 2 of them, right? I think they did 2 albums, 2 or 3.
I don't know if they did 2. I thought it was just the one, but could be wrong. Not sure.
You could be wrong.
Not sure. Well, but I will keep an eye out. We don't have to add that to the will list, because I don't have that yet.
They did 3. They did Highwaymen, Highwaymen 2, and The Road Goes On Forever.
Yeah, and I don't have any of them, so I will keep an eye out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I never see Willie Nelson in the wild.
No, I don't either, come to think of it.
Yeah, there's always lots. Like at the shop, I've probably got 10 or 12, but
it's funny because for weeks a couple times I've mentioned I never see any Stompin' Tom in the wild, and Joe sends me a message a week or 2 ago, and he gets an entire Stompin' Tom collection.
In the Shrink, originals in the Shrink on Boot Records, none of them have the hockey song.
I know.
Yeah, even his Christmas album. So yeah.
Yep, I want the one with the hockey song, and then he did that live album from, was it Lee's Palace or somewhere in Toronto? I can't remember anyway, that's the.
Yeah, it was Big Joe Muffero and My Stomping Grounds and stuff like that. There was a nice selection of them in there. So it's like they were brand friggin' new. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm doing another twofer because I can. These 2 albums are related, kind of like our connections. I'm going to show both of them, and then I'll tell you what the connection is. We're going to start with this. And they both came out around about the same time, I think. Yes, exactly the same year. Okay. This is interesting. This is like 2 paths that converge at some points in time. Tim, Joe, do you know these guys?
I know the name. I can't place them off the top of my head, but I
know them, Richard?
I've heard of them.
Okay, well, I'm impressed. Crash Vegas. This is their album Red Earth from 1989. So these guys are from, I believe, Hamilton. I think they're on a little label called Risk Disc, which became part of became part of Warner. There's a certain other Canadian band that was on Risk Disc when they launched in the 80s as well. So this is kind of a sort of a rootsy rock kind of thing that was really popular in the late 80s, early 90s in Canada. I'll say more about this in a second, but let me show the other one first. This is an album by a guy named Andrew Cash. Do you guys know Andrew Cash? Probably not.
I saw you kind of flipping it around a little bit there. So
yes. So this is an album called Boomtown. And this came out the same year, and it is of the same sort of type of music. Here's the connection. So we're going to start with this album here. So there are. Let me just pull this in here to see if I get my notes correct as I remember this. So, originally, the one principal songwriter of this band left this band before they recorded this album. But there are songs that he wrote on this album, and it's a gentleman by the name of Greg Keeler, who would go on to be one of the founders of Blue Rodeo.
Never heard of. Yep.
Never heard of him.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, the lead guitar player in this band is a gentleman named Colin Cripps. Greg and Jim started Blue Rodeo in '87, just before, this came out in '89. And then when Greg had hearing issues about 15 years ago, he stopped playing electric guitar, and Colin Cripps from his old band Crash Vegas joined Blue Rodeo, and Greg and Colin have been in Blue Rodeo together since about 2010.
Oh, okay. Now it's all coming together. Yeah, you brought them up before, and that's where I'm like, well, what the hell happened to Fly to France?
Right? So
that's what because I didn't know about Crash Vegas.
Right. So now here's the connection to this. This is Andrew Cash's album, came out at the same time. And Andrew Cash has a drummer here named Glenn Mitchum. Glenn Mitchum joined Andrew for this album. And right around the time that this was being recorded, Blue Rodeo needed a drummer. And he auditioned and became the drummer. So 3 of these 7 guys that are in the current lineup of Blue Rodeo came from these 2 albums that came out in the same year in 1989. So how's that for connections?
Is that hard to find, Rob, that Crash Vegas record? No, it's not.
Yeah. So they have another one, which I have on CD, but I've seen this a handful of times, and it's usually $5 because no one cares about it and no one even knows what the hell it is. This is the only one that Greg had any involvement in, so he's not on it to the best of my knowledge. I don't believe. I don't think so. Other than, Greg actually plays guitar on 3 of the songs, but he wrote several of them. So this is the only Crash Vegas that you'll see Greg Keeler on.
So where does Fly to France fall in the timeline? Is that after Crash Vegas?
Before. So
before that.
Yeah. So Jim and Greg were, how's it go? They were the Hi-Fis in New York, and then they were Fly to France, and then Fly to France disbanded, and Jim and Greg came back to Toronto. Jim continued working his job in the theater as a prop guy, and Greg co-founded Crash Vegas with Michelle McAdory, and then he left Crash Vegas because him and Jim found Basil and started Blue Rodeo in '87. So there you go. Blue Rodeo history that no one really cares about. You guys do a little bit, but
Of course.
there you go.
Of course. It's awesome.
So, yeah,
That's
you
great.
can find those, Tim. I think I might. I don't even think I paid $5 for either of them because
I don't know how much I'd spin it, but just for the collection, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I've listened to it a few times, both of them, but I have them more for the fact that they were less than $5 and they're in flawless shape, and because I'm a big Blue Rodeo fan. And there you go. So, let's see here. Girlfriend says Stompin' Tom was at the Horseshoe. Yes, that's where that live album was recorded. Thank you. That's a great. Have any of you guys been to the Horseshoe?
Nope.
Oh man,
I don't think so.
Legendary concert
I
venue.
feel like I have. I think I have.
It's on.
Is it kind of like just maybe a little west of downtown?
Yeah, on Queen Street.
Just a little bit, eh? Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost the corner of Queen and I want to say Spadina. I could be wrong, but yeah, a little bit west of downtown. Yeah, it used to be a lot larger than it is now. It's like half of a building, and it's just kind of a bar, but it's a very legendary bar that anyone in Canadian music has played there. I've not been to a show inside the Horseshoe, but a band that I like was doing an acoustic performance one afternoon out front of on the patio of the Horseshoe to raise money for a charity. So I've not actually been in it, but pretty legendary venue. But yeah, the Stompin' Tom show was live at the Horseshoe. That's the live one I'm looking for. So. Okay. I yammered on way too long there. Sorry, guys.
Not at all.
Richard, you want to go again?
Sure.
All right.
Okay, so who is my favorite band? Do any of you know?
Brian Adams.
Gary Newman.
Incorrect answer. Strike
Well,
one.
I think I'd say your favorite artist is Gary, but maybe not. I don't know. So
That would be a good hard guess. But this. Now, Sam was talking about in his video how Pet Sounds is like his favorite album of all time. This is my favorite album of all time. I feel like I know every sound, note, movement, drone on this entire album. This is My Bloody Valentine's Loveless. It is one of the most polarizing albums probably in music history. And long story short, when I first thought I was going to try out My Bloody Valentine, I thought this was garbage. I thought it was loud, noisy. It's disorienting. It just kind of doesn't make any sense. And Kevin Shields worked on this for years and years, putting it together, practically bankrupting the label because it took so long to put out. But now this is my favorite album ever. And it's one of those ones I just want to hear that one song. No. Track one, side one, all the way through, turn it, track one. You have to. It's almost like it was designed to be played that way. So, yeah. It's just a lot of flanging guitar work and distortion, and I absolutely adore this thing. So My Bloody Valentine's Loveless. I have pretty much everything My Bloody Valentine has done. They keep saying, we're going to put the last album they put out was like 2010. I can't remember. I remember it shut down their website because everybody was trying to order it. And then, we're going to put out another album in like 2 years. Well, 15 years later, we're still waiting, give or take. But I've had sort of a weird fascination for that, for just the sound of it. It's like what the music is doing. It just kind of like fits all of the right nooks of my brain just right. And I could play that daily without a problem. So
good. That's good.
Okay, Tim.
Okay. This is Anti Vinyl Storage Solutions. It's those ones where you can like slip the record directly out. Those double sleeves.
Double pockets.
Those are great.
Nice.
So this is another band that doesn't really get much love, but I'm not the hugest fan of the band, but this album in particular is, again, like yours, Richard. Like it's a concept record, and I think if you like the Beatles, you will absolutely love this album. And this Apples. Have you heard of the Apples in Stereo?
yes.
Wallpaper.
Aren't they based out of Denver?
Her Wallpaper Reverie. Yeah, let's figure this out. This record. If you like, you have to listen to this record. And it's really hard to see. I know it's very psychedelic-y. But it's very, 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 very like her room is a rainy garden. Wallpaper Reverie theme. Morning Breaks. The Shining Sea. Strawberry Fire. It's like Strawberry Fire is like a take on I guess Rain, Beatles Rain. It kind of has that sound to it. Very, 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 very cool record. Like if you haven't heard this record, give it a shot. Especially if you're a Beatles fan.
What are they called?
They're called the Apples in Stereo. I'm not the hugest fan of the band, but this album in particular is fucking awesome.
And what's the album called?
It's called Her Wallpaper Reverie.
I know I have a couple of their albums on CD. I can't think offhand what they are, but I don't have that one. So I'll be on the look.
This is an English pressing. They're harder to find records, but they're not too in demand, so they're attainable online. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And this is a nice, it's clear.
Here.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. Highly recommended.
I'll have to give that a listen later. You've got me intrigued.
Yeah, that's right.
I actually see a lot of their stuff around here because they're from Denver. So
Okay. Yeah, they're you won't find it. Like I had to find this online.
Ooh.
But yeah, super album.
Cool.
In terms of the discography, though, I don't know how many. Maybe they have like 3 or 4. I don't know what their discography is like, but just this album in particular, it's very, very good.
All right. Okay, Joe.
I was down a YouTube rabbit hole of some sort last night, just sitting kind of vegetating and upstairs, so I wasn't listening to the albums, but somewhere along the line I got to a point of Bruce Springsteen playing in Liverpool. So he's in Liverpool and he's playing, and then I'd like to bring my friend up, and of course his friend is Paul McCartney. So how much does that blow your mind if you're at a Springsteen concert and Paul McCartney comes out and you're playing in Liverpool? I don't know. I don't know if there'd be much more than that. That would just do me in. Actually, it would be, are you fucking kidding me? That's great. Sounded good. Paul sounds okay still. He doesn't sound great, but he sounds okay. And he sounds way better than I have ever sounded ever in my life or will ever sound.
But here's the thing. Paul is one of those instances where even if he sounds like shit, you don't care because you're still hearing and seeing Paul McCartney, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly. Had the Hofner bass. He was playing bass. He was up there. Bruce was just kind of standing off to the side in awe and watching him play. And it was like, are you kidding? But so I thought in lieu of that, I would bring out my Venus and Mars album. Probably my favorite Wings album. Band on the Run is good, but I really like this. And there's the gatefold because the rule is. So, these two are talking and these two are talking. What'd this guy do? He's all out by himself. It's like, you go stand over there and be in shame. I'm not sure what's going on there, but I don't know. Is that Dickie? I'm not sure who that is, actually. Kind of looks like Bon Scott. I think maybe, I'm not sure who that is. Anyway,
He farted.
Medicine Jar, Magneto and Titanium Man. I know you're not a big Paul fan on his own, but
I am. I'm a huge fan.
How many? Tim and I were talking about this. How many McCartney albums do you have?
I have 170 McCartney release albums in my collection.
Wow.
I don't have that many, but I've got most of Wings and I've got most of Paul's and I've got that one Thrillington album as well. Which
I've got that.
Cool. Yeah. So, and this is just a beautiful dead stone, perfectly mint original. I don't think there was extras in here as much as there was just cool claps. Yeah, that's it. So anyway, in honor of Bruce and all getting together for a song or two in Liverpool, I think the only other thing that might have been equally as cool, somewhat, is, again, I don't know, a few years ago, that James Corden and the Carpool Karaoke stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then all of a sudden, they did that in Liverpool, and then all of a sudden, the jukebox opened up, and there was Paul McCartney's band. So,
Oh, I saw that. That was good.
Yeah.
Insane.
yeah, that was very good. So, I would put McCartney here 10 years ago, something like that. Top 3 concerts for sure. It was 3 hours long. You knew every word. He sounded great. His band, that band's been together longer than Wings ever was, longer than the Beatles ever was. It's been the same band, and they are a fantastic band. And he played everything I wanted to hear and a little bit more. So it was very, very good. But so there you go. There's still in the W's. I think, I got a couple others coming up, but that's still in the W's. So,
And for anyone wondering in the comments, yes, Tim's met McCartney and has something signed.
yes, yeah, he was in. He didn't get out of the limo, but
That's right.
he met him, right?
It still counts. It still counts.
Oh, it counts more than I. Yeah, exactly.
How many? Where did you see him, Joe?
In Regina.
Okay.
So, yeah. And like I said, I don't remember what tour ago that was because they're still playing. They're still out. Not as many dates. It's kind of like the Stones are still playing, and there's only 6 dates, but still, it's got to be 10, maybe even more years ago, maybe 2012, 2014, something like that. So
Yeah, there was a few shows I flew to go see him.
yeah.
Yeah. Remember that free show in Quebec?
No, I don't
Played
remember
a free
that.
show in Quebec City. Yeah. Went to that
Cool.
one. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I'd go see him again tomorrow.
For sure.
Okay. I'm going to show one, maybe two. I don't know. We'll see where the wind takes us. This is a band I have never, ever heard mentioned in the violent community. This is a British blues band called Chicken Shack. You guys
I know
Chicken
these
Shack?
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is their album Imagination Lady. The reason I think anyone probably may have heard of Chicken Shack is prior to this album, they had a piano player named Christine Perfect, who later married John McVie and became Christine McVie and joined Fleetwood Mac. She is not on this record. I do have the Chicken Shack album she's on. It's called 40 Fingers, Freshly Packed and Ready to Serve. I have it. It's good. I have 2 copies of it, as a matter of fact. And that was my gateway into Chicken Shack because I'm a huge Fleetwood Mac fan. But I remember back when I was, I would have been 20, I think, just my last year of university. And I was working at Canadian Tire, and I had a buddy there. His name was Brian, and he was the biggest stoner I met in my entire life and dumber than a bag of rocks. But for some reason, the man knew. I mean, man, he was the same age I was. He was 20 or whatever. The guy knew music, and I don't know how Chicken Shack came up. He's like, "Oh, I love Chicken Shack." And I'm just like, for a guy that is this dumb, I'm literally astounded. And he turned me onto this album. Is my favorite Chicken Shack record, and it's really good. British blues. There's a great song on here called "If I Were a Carpenter." That's probably my favorite. But yeah, this is an OG from back in the day. It is a gatefold, so there you go. There are the remaining members of Chicken Shack. Really, really good. If you like, sort of that Peter Green era Fleetwood Mac kind of stuff, and John Mayall and that kind of stuff. I mean, they're right in that sort of area. So, my favorite Chicken Shack record. I'm going to show one more because I got a stack of them here, and I want to show any of them. So, Joe will recognize this.
I do.
Yeah. I bought this from a little record store in Regina, Saskatchewan called On AV or On Vinyl. It's a record store they release. This guy named Bobby Charles, and this is the Bearsville Studio Sessions. Bobby Charles is somebody that nobody knows. I'm surprised that this came out on Record Store Day because most people have never heard of Bobby Charles. I am a massive fan of the band. And if you watch The Last Waltz, he's not actually in the film, but he does play at the concert. He was kind of a protege of Dr. John, the Louisiana piano player. Well, he was kind of running in that circle, and he was a friend of Dr. John. And so Dr. John and Bobby Charles play with the band in The Last Waltz. And in actuality, on the recording, you hear Robbie Robertson introduce Bobby Charles on the record. So that's kind of how I got there. And he's sort of, they call it Louisiana swamp pop is what the genre is called. But it's, it's that rootsy Southern whatever. And it's really good. So everyone from the band except for Robbie Robertson plays on this record and on the actual studio album that came out back in the day. And Dr. John is on here. And it's called the Bearsville Studio Sessions because it was recorded at the Bearsville Studio in, I believe it was Woodstock, and it was originally owned by the band. So, and actually there's a group of cast of characters on here, and this guy here with his back to us is Garth Hudson from the band. So I was thrilled when I saw this come up on Record Store Day. I couldn't find it anywhere, and Joe was able to get it for me. So some Bobby Charles. There we go.
Zydeco or no? Like not quite that, or is there some elements of that in there a little bit? I mean, obviously I didn't listen to it because I just forwarded it on sealed to you. So
I don't know.
Not so much, no?
No, I don't think so.
I guess not everything out of Louisiana has to necessarily have that. Sometimes it will, but not always.
No,
right?
it's kind of like if the band were from Louisiana,
Sure, that's fair.
or if Dylan was from Louisiana and could actually sing, instead of
Sure.
dragging his nuts through a pencil sharpener.
His kid can sing, though,
This kid can sing, absolutely.
True.
for sure. No merch, though. Pissed me off. I was hoping to find a couple,
No
but there
merch.
was nothing. And there was only one ZZ Top as well. The somewhat most recent. Yeah, I'm not sure. Unless there was a booth that was hiding something, I couldn't find any. So
I'm waiting for the Wallflowers to re-release some of their vinyl because I'm still looking for Breach. That's really hard to find and very expensive.
Yeah.
It's what it is. All right, let's go around the horn again.
all right.
Sure. Right, my turn to do a twofer.
Give her.
They're related, so
Give her, as we say in Canada.
Are we doing? How many more rounds are we doing?
Let's do this one, and then we'll do a speed round, and we'll call it a day.
perfect.
Okay. Sorry, Richard. Go ahead.
No problem. So this is a band I've seen probably way too many times. It seems like every time they come back here, and I'm just like, oh, do I really need to see them for like the 8th or 9th or 10th, whatever time?
I've
That
seen
would
the band 53 times, Richard. So
Oh, I've
8 is
seen
nothing.
Bob Mould probably 16 times. So Gary Newman, yeah, he's getting up there too. You too, I've seen a lot too.
53. 53.
Okay, that's a lot of fucking times
I have a ticket to go see them for the 54th time. So
because you're crazy.
So the National.
No. I fell in love with the National after the album Alligator came out. And I can't remember the song off that. I was just like, my God, this is like so up my street. So I started buying everything the National have put out, and I still do. Interestingly, though, I can't go into their back catalog because everything I've heard I don't like. So it's like their first two or three albums, maybe. I'm just kind of going, it's all right. Boxer stands out to me because it was the second time I saw them at the same venue, and tickets were stupid cheap, like $12. Now they charge, $85, $100 for the same thing. Great album. What is on here? Start a War. My God, I love that song. I don't think it was a single, but it's a concert staple for them. So Boxer. Then a few years ago, they released a live album on Record Store Day live in Brussels, and it's the Boxer album in its entirety live. Yeah. So, and after Record Store Day, I have never seen this album since. So I don't, it's one of those ones I should probably look up on Discogs. So hopefully, maybe it's worth something. Would I sell it? No. Yeah. So, just saying. But the last time the National were here, who did they play with? Oh, they played with the War on Drugs. And I was like, that's a neat lineup. But the tickets were just stupid expensive. And it's like, you can't do it. So, I buy records like crazy, but I won't pay money for crazy concerts. Go figure.
You know what I'm going to ask now, right?
What?
If you're such a big fan of the National, do you like the Taylor records that Aaron co-wrote?
Maybe I didn't know that happened.
Aaron Dessner from the National
co-wrote
like 3 of Taylor Swift's records. You didn't know that? Oh my goodness, Richard! My goodness.
Sorry, are you going to revoke my National fan club?
Well, you should. Like, damn it, man! I have a quick connection to the National for you. So,
Peter Mansbridge?
No. Yeah, that's funny. Absolutely. A friend of mine is, or I don't know if he still is, but for years, he was their manager in Canada. So he was the guy on their label in Canada that managed the National in all of their Canadian business affairs. And when Aaron and Taylor won a Grammy for one of the songs that Aaron wrote, he thanked my buddy in his Grammy acceptance speech.
Wow, cool. There you go. Always a good thing.
Yep.
What does the
now you've got to listen to some Taylor records to hear the songs that Aaron wrote. I think he was on Folklore, Everlore, and Midnights, I think.
Okay, I will look that up.
He co-wrote a ton of stuff for her.
What is the gist of the song "Racing Like a Pro"? Are they racing cars? Are they racing? It was, I think, like the third last song on that album. I'm always interested in
I
racing.
can tell you.
We
Not
have
sure.
exposed Richard as a poser. He's not the national fan he
No.
says he is.
No, not fair. That's not true.
You're a
Listen to that-
Richard.
listen
You're
to
a
that
fraud.
song and- Listen to that song and give me a synopsis of whether it's a racing cars or a racing, bikes or what they're doing racing.
I will look into that just for
Please, thank you.
That's your
Please.
homework.
you. Homework.
That's cool. Okay, Tim.
I saw Richard's really cool. His record store day one there with the really cool shiny
is cool.
version of it. So my record store really shiny version of the Beck. Big Beck fan. I like
very
Beck.
nice.
I don't know what you guys think about Beck, but I like Big Beck. And when he's on tour, 2/4 of Jellyfish play with him. So Roger Manning and Jason Faulkner play with him live. Which I don't know. Jason Faulkner also plays. Do you know that '90s album? The Grays from the '90s.
Yes.
No.
The Grays. So Jason plays with that with them. Yeah,
Cool.
but I don't know. I like the later Beck than the earlier Beck. Like the I'm a Loser Baby and all that. I'm not super into, but Morning Glory and all that other like the later stuff. What's that one that he came up with? Colors there? Was it Colors? I know he's kind of like a musical chameleon where
He is, yeah.
every album's kind of different.
Very, very much.
Yeah. But yeah, like me some Beck.
Cool.
Right on. All right, Joe.
WX. We're gonna go with X, and I'm not sure why I chose this one, but a little band called XTC.
Oh man, I just got that signed on Sunday.
Did you?
Oh,
There
wow.
you go.
By Terry Chain. Great album. That's a great album.
It is a great album, and they're great. Not a huge commercial success by any means, but just very solid and a really good following, I think, all along. And fans that were fans are still fans. It's one of those, right? So for those that may be watching and going, "Who the hell is XTC?" You'll know Making Plans for Nigel. That was kind of the big it per se, but just really, really good stuff. And 90s, 80s, actually 80s, right? More than the 90s. They continued on, but this is 1980. This friggin' album was 1980. Oh man, that's crazy. There's the bands that make sense, that they're already as old as they are, the Stones and the Beatles and such. But then when you start talking about XTC and they're back to the 90s, that's making me feel my age, but that's okay. Age is just a number, and I still look good, so it doesn't really matter if I can't walk and get up in the morning and without making noises like an old man.
Well, Sense is
I
working.
do that at my age, Joe.
Was that not a hit? Was that a hit or?
Yeah, I mean there was I think arguably
That wasn't on there, but
the big one, right? And then
yeah,
Dear God was another. You
yeah.
got that one.
You have the Skylarking.
If you're ever watching some of the videos that I do from the shop, every once in a while there's a Skylarking album in the background, but it's the special edition. So just have a look the next time you see that, if you happen to be watching one of my videos, and see if it's probably not something that should be in the video actually, but and I don't do it on purpose. I just every once in a while I go, oh yeah, that probably shouldn't be in the background, but that's okay. So now you go back and look for one.
And I don't know much about it, but I know with Black Sea, there's like this paper bag or something that you can.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
think
you
I
have
got
it.
any. I
Do you
don't think I
have it?
got any of the good stuff. No.
No, yeah, I don't either.
But this album used to belong to Doug Baird. This is not my original. But at least Doug had the courtesy to put his name on the inside. I don't give a rat's ass about names on the front. I'm not a big, I don't care about that. But Doug had the niceness to put it on the inside. I think I told you guys once before, I found a sleeve once it had for good weed call, and then it was just the guy's dealer number was on the inside sleeve. I never called it, but anyway. No, there's no extra bits to this one. So, but
I might be a little strange, but I actually prefer if someone writes their name on the outside.
it, and number, like, it's been to parties that way. And
Right.
the only other thing that would be also cooler is if there was like little tick marks, like notches on a belt or whatever. It was at 27 different parties. This album got played at 27 different parties.
Right? I love when it has a name because, like, I think of my guitars. Like I think of this one here, this Butterscotch Telecaster, which you can never see because it's behind me. That's from 1978, the year that I was born, and I bought it in probably 2005. I've had it for 20 years myself, but that thing had a life for 30 years before I had it. I don't know who owned it, but when I see a record and it has, like Jane Smith, cool. Somebody named Jane Smith had this at some point in time, and I don't know who that is, but I just love the fact that it had a life before I got it.
Sometimes, we buy collections, and then there's different people. I try and look them up on Facebook and see if I can find them on Facebook and go, hey, look, I found your record from forever ago. And then, stuff written on liner notes. There was a collection we bought, and it was a Duran Duran album. And this girl was in love with Simon Le Bon. It was, I love Simon Le Bon. And there was art, there was pictures, and there was her name with his name. And it's kind of cool to see. Love letters, hate letters, all that stuff inside albums, because that's where they used to stuff stuff.
I pulled out my Elvis's 68 comeback special the other day to listen to it. And there's a name written on the front. And I had totally forgot where I got it from. And I read the name, and it was the girl that I dated in high school. It was her mother. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember when she gave that to me, which is hilarious because that woman hated my fucking guts.
But you got her Elvis record. So there you go.
She did give me a couple records because, I was dating her daughter back in like 1994, something like that. And no one was listening to vinyl back then. I was. So I remember she's like, well, I got a few records you might like. And she gave them to me, even though she hated my guts. So cool.
There you go.
I still have that. So
memories.
Have not seen that woman in 30, almost 30 years. Haven't seen the ex-girlfriend in 30 years either. So
I was going to say the mom or the ex-girlfriend you haven't seen
either. Haven't
either.
seen them since we parted ways in like 1997, 8, whatever it was. So
there you go.
Anyway, I digress. Is it my turn now? It's my
turn. It is your turn. Yeah.
Sorry, I take this off the rails sometimes, but whatever.
Man,
okay.
There are no rails.
That's true.
Other than the cocaine.
Or the guardrails on the highway. Or the rails on the train track.
Yeah.
Or I don't know what else. Okay, I already showed Creedence, but I'm going to show this. This is Creedence, the concert. Now, interesting story. Maybe not. When this originally came out, this was mistakenly labeled as a concert from the Royal Albert Hall. It is not. Years later, in the 90s, it was corrected. They actually found that this was a concert from the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. And the reason I'm showing this, it's nothing spectacular about it. This is a brand new version of it from a few years ago. This was the the second CD that I ever bought in my entire life. And I bought it when I was about 12 or 13. This is, very, very, very early 90s when CDs were starting, CDs were a thing, and I could finally start to afford them. And I remember in the next town over, it was called the CD Warehouse. And Dad and I went over there. It was the first time Dad and I went somewhere to buy music. And I remember that I bought the Beatles Live at the BBC, and I bought this. I bought one other CD, and I don't remember what it was, but for some reason, I listened to the shit out of this as a 13-year-old or whatever. So just fond memories of this. One of the first CDs that I ever bought. And so I still have that CD. It's over on my shelf, and it's destroyed. The case is all cracked. The CD is scratched, all the shit, but whatever. So anyway, I have the vinyl. I'm going to show one more. This is an interesting one. A guy I talk about a lot, Tom Cochrane. Yes, Tom Cochrane is in the cube. I'm not going to show the autographed Tom Cochrane record because I've shown it too many times. But this is interesting. I didn't know that this existed till I saw Tom Cochrane in concert, and he was talking about it. Before he was Tom Cochrane, he put out an album called Hang On to Your Resistance under the name Cochrane. And I don't know that it was very successful necessarily. You can see this is what the original album looked like right there. So that's what the cover looked like. Just Cochrane. And then once he became very successful with Red Rider, Capitol reissued it as this, the early years, and they give him full credit on it. It's an interesting record. It doesn't quite sound like Red Rider, and it doesn't quite sound like Tom Cochrane, but it's not terribly different either. When you hear the voice, you know it's him. But it's just an interesting album that not a lot of folks know about, and I'm glad I found this copy. I paid $15 for it. It was the last time I actually went record shopping with Brian from Embryonic Robot, who I'm going to go record shopping with on Friday. So a very interesting Tom Cochrane record.
Is the writing, is it early forms of Tom Cochrane writing?
Yes.
Is that the way that comes across? Yeah.
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of kind of the songwriting from like Neruda, that sort of, not like Lunatic Fringe or White Hot, but more of that little more sort of abstract stuff that you find on like Neruda.
I get it. Yep. I get it.
Intellectual Tom Cochrane. Let's go that way.
Sure. That's fair. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So you still have to put that Neruda album away. If you look in the corner of your record stand there, the background, it's the one that's on top.
It's long since away. This picture of my office that's in the background is just a static image from ages ago. That Neruda album has been filed for quite a long time. So, good eyes though, Joe. Very good.
Yeah,
all right, let's do a speed round and we'll wrap this thing up. So,
all righty.
Speed round.
All right, 3 to go. I could do a 3 first.
As many as you
First
want.
one, have you ever heard of Ned's Atomic Dustbin?
Absolutely.
No.
Yeah.
I
The one
love
song,
this
anyway.
album.
Yeah.
This is classic Britpop at its finest. Kill Your Television was kind of all over MTV for a good long time. But when I found out Music on Vinyl did a reissue of this, I was like, yes, please, I want this, because I've had it on CD since forever. So, Ned's Atomic Dustbin, absolutely love that one. This was on my second ever video when I did kind of obscure bands that have stellar albums, and Neutral Milk Hotel. What is this called? I don't have the title. I can't see
Aeroplane
it.
across the something. The aeroplane.
That's it. Yeah, it was Aeroplane something. Anyway, good album. Kind of, I still find it kind of hard to get into. It's one of those ones that rewards with repeated listenings over time. And I saved the best for last. If you don't have this album, I should say album set, please go get one today. New Order Substance. By far, my opinion, probably one of the best, greatest hits albums, best ofs, whatever you want to call it. And the Joy Division one's really good too. But this has everything on it. You can't tell because there's no track listing on the back, but I don't even think it's on the inside. And we got some colorful, cool ass artwork. I think these were like the sleeves for the singles that came out in the day. I fell in love with New Order with Power, Corruption, and Lies, and the rest was history. I bought,
and that was it. Yeah,
that was so good. So that's it. That's everything.
Very good.
So, the National and Neutral Milk. I wasn't going to say anything about the National, but Neutral Milk, now that you say that as well. There's a documentary, and I can't remember if I talked about it when you were on, and if you're not on, you're usually here, but it's called Other Music. It was a record store in New York. It's a documentary
Yes.
that is probably, I think it's on YouTube, that you should watch. I think it's good, and they are two of their staples of that record store or whatever. So it's got
for sure.
old footage, like them playing in the store, like the National playing in the store back in the day and stuff. I think it's about 10 years old, but it's good. I enjoyed it.
I saw that, and they also, I think it was a record store day a couple of years ago, they did an other music vinyl that had,
Like a compilation
and
of
I picked
theirs.
that up too. So that's really
Cool.
good.
That's good. Yeah, it's got their top 20 of sold, and I think the most notable, somewhat, there's Black Star's on there because so the documentary's from a little while ago. I think Black Star's on there, but anyway, just those couple of bands made me think of that. So, and I know Chris isn't here, but I told Chris about that before, and Chris never really listens to me. He always asks the question, but then he never really listens to me. Like last week, I gave it to him, and then he asked me, "What about?" Yeah.
Chris always watches this on his TV, like the next day or 2 days later. Yeah. He sent me a text message last week. It's a picture, like of his feet or whatever, and you can see his TV, and here's our stupid faces on his big screen TV. He goes, "I'm catching up on your show." So.
Nice. But anyway, Richard, like I said, I don't know. And I think it's on YouTube. I think that's where I watched it. So, yeah.
Cool. Okay, Tim.
Okay, I'm gonna have to cheat here because I ran out of records, so I'm just gonna go to my what I've been playing to the last couple of days pile.
Perfect.
I haven't put away yet.
Okay.
So,
do you have any Beatles records?
Beatles?
How about some Paul McCartney?
I can show you. What do you want to see?
Go with what you're going. I was just being a smart ass. Go ahead.
Yeah. Tracy Chapman. Always give that a spin every once in a while.
That's that new reissue, right?
No, this is an 80.
You got an original.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Wow.
Yeah.
That record sounds really, really good.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah. Like our guy.
I put this on a lot, just for sheer. Yeah,
so
just
good.
The audio quality is so good.
Yeah.
And then behind that, the day before that would have been these guys, which is they're always fun to listen to.
Oh, I love that
Of
album.
course, and it's signed.
Yeah.
It's
It's so good. I love this album. It's awesome raw.
It's just fun. I think that's my favorite Foo Fighters album.
Yeah, the early stuff. They got a little too like vanilla or commercial, but their first couple are so good. Yeah.
Is Taylor's signature on there?
So that's Dave. That's Taylor. Yeah.
That's probably Taylor there.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Nice. And Pat.
And Pat's down there.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Is that a
I
date
saw
for
them
you?
open for Red Hot Chili Peppers and Process.
Super record. Yeah. I love this record.
Well, that wouldn't have been a very good show at all. The Red Hot Chili Peppers and the Foo Fighters.
There you
I
go.
love it.
Yeah.
Me and Dave.
Deadly.
Yeah. Cool dude. He's a cool dude.
I have got to be one of the few people on the planet that does not like the Foo Fighters.
I didn't at first. It took me a while to get into them, but then I kind of got it.
Nope. Doesn't do it for me. I find
Like
it
when-
boring.
Like when I was like, this came out in what, 97, 98? Maybe earlier than that.
Something like that.
Yeah. Like
Around
I
there.
wasn't into that. Like I would have been 15, 16. I wasn't super into this stuff, but when I got into university is kind of when I got into it.
And maybe I'm ignorant and maybe I'm stupid. I mean, I am in both counts. But to me, I hear one Foo Fighters song, and to me, it sounds like every other Foo Fighters song, and it just bores the shit out of me.
Mm.
But I have no taste in music, so don't listen to what the hell I say. I'm just some idiot on YouTube, so
That's not true.
I have no opinion about nothing that's worth anything. So there you go.
That wasn't a gatefold, was it, Tim? I don't think that one is a gatefold.
Let me see.
I remember if that one is.
No gatefold.
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
Speaking of, it reminds me. We have a record store in Ottawa that they put the prices on the inside.
Yeah.
That drives me nuts. Because then you're pulling the spot, you're pulling the seat,
Oh,
Yeah,
checking the prices.
that sucks.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Put it on the put a cheap shit plastic sleeve on it and put the sticker on it.
Yeah. Well,
On
I
a
find, like-
vinyl,
Yeah.
on a vinyl gets brand new vinyl storage solutions, outer and inners for anything that is over $7.
Well,
Anything
this is a
that's over-
vinyl. This is a vinyl storage solutions one, but I find that they get really tight. So if I get an album signed, I don't sometimes put them in them just because I don't know. I find that they fit snug, and I don't want to screw up the ink or something.
That makes
It's
sense.
just a
I don't
phobia.
like
It's
snug
just a
sleeves.
phobia
You got to get the 12.75s
because they fit so well. The vinyl
Yeah.
storage solutions, yeah.
There's
Use
still
promo
record,
code Northern10 for 10%
That's
off
right.
your order.
exactly. There's still record stores that put freaking stickers on the covers. It's like,
Yep.
don't do it, Len.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
This one right here. God
I know.
damn it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got. I mean, I don't know if I've showed it before, but we got stickers made up, and they've got the little price on them. And every $5 album gets an outer, a brand new outer, and a decent inner. Everything 7 or over gets a brand new outer and a brand new inner. And we put the stickers on the outside. And you can still take the sticker off if you don't want to have that on there, but it's still kind of a cool little sticker. Anyway, that wasn't meant to.
Joe, do
Yeah.
you have a site you can buy online, or are you just shop?
Just local. We just do
Okay.
local. So yeah.
Okay,
But-
cool.
but-
No, just asking. I'd probably.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah. I've just I've always just decided just to keep it local and not do it not do mail order. It's just the way that that we've decided to do it. So
Well, that opens up a hell of a lot more work.
and it's not even the work per se, but that way if someone comes in and buys something from me and they take it home, they can bring it back the next day and I'll make it right, whether I give them something different or if I've got another copy of it or whatever, because I can give all of the ratings and gradings that I want in the world, and it's still going to be a pain in the ass because some guy's going to go, well, that's not what that grades out at. Well, that's what I graded it at, and you paid, and I charged accordingly. But
Are you meaning to say that record collectors are picky? No.
ding.
No.
I don't have a like I said, I don't have a problem. I've always told people if you take it home and you're not satisfied with it at the price you paid for it, because I've got some records that are $5 versions of a record because it's beat up, but it's a $5 version of it. That's why it is. It's supposed to be $20, but it's $5. And if you're not happy even at the $5 that you paid with it, bring it back. We'll get you something else, because what good is it if you bought it and you're never going to listen to it? So anyway, that wasn't meant to be a whole promo of stuff, but just don't put friggin' stickers on the covers.
Agreed.
Joe, is that
All right.
Random Access Memories on the bottom there?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, that's a freaking awesome album.
Yeah. I've got the Tron not soundtrack, but the Tron score by them too, and it's really very good as well. So
Yeah. I saw you changed it up there.
I changed it up a little bit.
Big Rec took the boom.
Yeah.
Eh?
And then I've got Lady Gaga poster. I got rid of. Well, David Bowie used to be up there, but now it's my current sweetie Lady Gaga up there. Richard.
No, it's your turn now.
Oh, I screwed it up. See, you didn't screw it up.
I didn't screw it up this week.
You have not.
First
screwed it
time
up.
ever.
That's right. All right, so we'll go through quick. XTC, next is Y, and it is a rave up with the Yardbirds. Of course, Mr. Jeff Beck and company. There was the Yardbirds, and then there was a whole bunch of different versions of the Yardbirds, but Train kept a rolling off here, and just a great original, actually, that one. So that, and then I'm a keyboard fan, but I'm not necessarily a crazy keyboard. I'm not a huge prog guy. I like a little bit of prog, but as far as Yes albums go, this is fairly attainable. Even if you're not a big prog guy, obviously they rocked it up a little bit, for lack of the proper term, on this one, and I like that album. So that is the Yes. I'm going to skip ahead to the Zeds for a moment, and just because I saw them on the weekend. Again, they were fantastic. They were exactly what I expected them to be. And They did a little bit of everything. The bulk of the crowd knew the songs from Eliminator, and then there was the rest of us that knew Jesus Just Left Chicago and Waiting on the Bus and all that good stuff. So it was really, really good. Cheap sunglasses, pearl necklace, they did all that stuff. And then last but not least, I don't know if I've showed this before. I think it's been in the background in a few times, but maybe I have, because this is an original of the Odyssey and the Oracle. And such a great album. Great, fantastic band. It's one of those bands that I don't need to explain it to you guys, but it's one of those bands that's a shame of all the whatever happened to them, and they should have been much, much bigger than they were. There's a cool, this will be for Chris. This will be his other homework if he watches till this point. There's a podcast about the fake Zombies. So the Zombies made this album and it did okay, but that was all kind of Europe. They weren't that big over here at the time, 60 whatever. So there was these two promoters in Michigan that got a band together and just put them out there as the Zombies, because it's not like these days where people could go, well, that's not the Zombies. That's not what they look like. You couldn't look up who the Zombies were. You didn't know. You could have walked past them on the street. So I think there was two bands, two different versions of the Zombies, but one of the versions of the Zombies actually had Billy Gibbons and Frank Beard from ZZ Top in them. So it's a podcast. It's called The Fake Zombies. It's pretty cool. It's 4 episodes long. The guy that did it has good information. I don't like the way that he presented it as much, but it's cool to listen to. So, Chris, if you're watching, if you don't want a documentary suggestion this time, there's your podcast suggestion, The Fake Zombies, but the Odyssey and the Oracle. Very, very cool album cover, if nothing else. So there you go. The XYZ and Z's, bin number 55. And I think... no, that wouldn't have been the very last. That ZZ Top wouldn't have been the very last. It would have been. I don't know. Anyway.
Okay. I got 3 here. These guys, I like to call them, the poor man's Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band. For those that don't know, and I don't know how many people do, I heard of these guys from the awesome movie Eddie and the Cruisers, which is a fucking fantastic movie. And even the sequel, Eddie Lives, is pretty goddamn good too, to be quite honest. So John Cafferty is the music for both of those movies. And I have those soundtracks. They're in my soundtrack section. And I love those movies. They're great. And then I picked up a couple of John Cafferty's solo records. Actual albums, not the soundtracks, and they're really good. His horn player, or sax player, I should say, this gentleman here, I don't know what the hell his name is. What's his name? Michael Tunes and Tunes. This black guy here. He actually plays the saxophone player in Eddie and the Cruisers. So he's the only member of the band that's also in the band in the movies. But I believe the story goes, and I don't know how true it is, that they wanted to use Springsteen music in Eddie and the Cruisers, but the label wouldn't allow it or whatever. So they found someone that sounded like Springsteen. Is that? Am I correct in that, Joe?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, if it's not, it makes perfect sense, right? Because up until a certain point, Bruce wasn't letting his music out there in songs. Like, he was also supposed to be the music in Mask, the one with Cher, and that's why it's Bob Seger. The actual kid is really a Springsteen fan, but they used Seger because Bruce didn't want it. So, I mean, right. That makes sense. But
I don't know if you've heard. I mean, Joe, you're a big Springsteen fan. I don't know if you've heard any of these, but I think they're pretty damn good records.
I have Tough All Over. I don't have that one, and then I have
Tough All Over as well.
I love the soundtrack. The soundtrack is a great standalone record if there was no movie around it. But I love the movie as well. I've probably seen it 10 times at least, if not more. So just good blue collar music, right? Just good. I don't know if they're from Jersey. They probably are, but
they. I don't know if they're Jersey or they're New York, somewhere in that area, not too far from there.
Yeah.
Remember, I said the ex-girlfriend's mom that gave me the '68 comeback special. She was the one that introduced me to the Eddie and the Cruisers movie because they were watching it one time, and the girlfriend and I watched it with them, and the conversation led to John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band. So There you go. So there's that one.
Good stuff.
And the last one is one artist, 2 releases. And this ties right in with what Richard and I were talking about off camera before we started. Musical dickheads.
The kids in music.
Because we're in the C section. Clapton. Remember I said that Creedence in Concert was the second CD I ever bought? This was the first. Clapton's Unplugged. Because when that special was, which was what? I don't know, 1992. When it aired, I watched it. Wow, this is fantastic. I love this. And Dad's like, well, if you want the CD, I'll take you up to the mall. Because I would have been like, I don't know, 13 or whatever. And so this was the first CD I ever bought with my own money. And I still have the CD. It's over on my shelf. It's beat up all the shit. So when it came out on vinyl, I bought it. I know this has just been re-released in the last week or two as a expanded deluxe edition. I'm not going to buy it because I don't need to spend $100 for a few extra songs for something that I already have. But this is a fantastic album. But did this not win like album of the year, I think, when it came out? And I think this is there's some record like this is the biggest selling live album or some, I don't know.
Could be. Yeah, I mean, Tears in Heaven was huge, right?
Right.
That was huge. Yeah.
So a very good concert by a man that's dickhead.
That version of Layla is really good on that too.
What's that?
That version of Layla on there is really, really good.
Yeah. I'm going to finish this out with a box set, the Crossroads box set, which is, I don't know, it's like 5 LPs, I think. This was my dad's. This came out in 1988, and this is sort of career-spanning retrospective to that point. So there's Yardbirds, John Mayall and Eric Clapton, John Mayall's Blues Breakers, Cream, Blind Faith, Derek and the Dominoes, and then a bunch of Clapton solo stuff. So it's really good. And it's 6 LP. There you go. So it's the first box that I ever had. This I liberated from my dad's collection after he passed away. I wish I would have kept a lot more, but there you go. Finished that with a box set, and that's it. That's all.
It's a good one to go start to finish on. If you've got the time, like if you're working at home one day, just put it on, go record 1 right till record 6. It's pretty good. So
Yep, exactly.
Because eventually you're going to get to Layla. Even if nothing else is good, you're going to get to Layla. So
and there's a bunch of amazing stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm being a smartass because I like Clapton. I mean, I definitely agree with the dickhead comments.
Yeah.
And there's some Clapton I like less, but yeah.
Right.
I just love that song so much. So.
I have a bunch of his records. I probably have a dozen Clapton albums, but yeah, this just.
I've only got 2, I think.
Have you met him?
No.
Okay. All right, guys. That's awesome. That was fun. We'll do as we always do. We'll go around the horn. Tim has nothing to say about his channel because he doesn't have a channel yet, but he's going to have to start one pretty soon because the public wants to see that record of yours.
I'm going to the Governor General's thing on Saturday.
Oh, you lucky bugger!
Yeah.
Who's getting their award again?
Bob Ezrin is going to be there.
Right.
Yeah. And then there was another there's some actors and things like that, but I just go for the music guys.
I may know someone who has the Governor General's Music Award, and I may have held it in my hand and seen it before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, Blue Radio got it years ago.
Oh right. Okay.
Bob has it, and I've seen it.
That's so cool.
And all of his Junos and all that other shit. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. So that's all. I forgot that it was Ezra, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. How'd you score tickets to that? Could you just buy tickets to go?
You can. Yeah, you can.
Cool.
It's every year too, and it's the same. Like they do a red carpet, and so and that's kind of where I try to get stuff signed on the red carpet as they're going in.
Sure, that's very cool.
We'll see.
Very cool. Richard, what's going on at the Vinyl Tap House? Anything you want to tell folks about?
I would love to have some ideas of just like, where to go right now. I'm kind of in that, that thread is nice. I'll do that thread, or thank you for inviting me to your live stream. That's been my thing lately. It's been being the guest host or guest participant on live stream, which is fine. I really enjoy this, and I get tons of ideas of stuff I should buy.
Yeah, Richard and I have been participating in some live streams across the pond.
Yes, we have.
That's right.
Yeah. It was really fun too. But other than that, I keep I was kind of what we were talking about before this started. I really need to start going back into stuff I haven't heard in a long time and revisiting it. I'm thinking of doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, just kind of, yeah, 5 things from A, 5 things from B. I haven't heard these in years. What are my thoughts now that I haven't heard it since 1981 or whatever? So that might be an angle to go.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
I like
Joe,
it.
what about you? What's going on either on your channel or at the store?
Nothing on mine. It's on hiatus again. I do this. I love doing this. So this is good. Every once in a while, I'll get on a whim to go and do something on mine. The store, I haven't done anything. Probably tomorrow, I'm going to come up with something. I don't know, maybe the latest of 12 things that shouldn't be here, and or something like that. Yeah. And other than that, just doing this and loving it. So that keeps me happy, keeps me going. So
good. I did not put out a video last week because I have to admit, the last month or so I've been sort of in a creative rut. Haven't had any ideas. I think I've only put out 1 video in the last 3 weeks. And I think that's a function of the fact that I'm incredibly overworked right now and under an incredible amount of stress at work, which, hopefully there's some resolution to that in the near future. I don't know. But I think that's part of the reason. There will be a video this Sunday because on Friday, I am getting together with Mike, MGK Buffalo, and Brian, Embryonic Robot, and the 3 of us are going record shopping in Kitchener, Ontario. Mike's going to be in town because his in-laws live not too far from me, and Mike only lives about an hour and a half away in Buffalo. So he's coming up to visit his in-laws, and he called me up. He said, "You want to go record shopping?" And I said, "Yes, please." And he goes, "Should we call Brian?" I go, "Absolutely, we should call Brian." So Brian's driving from Toronto to where I live, and we're all going to meet at Mike's in-laws and hop in my car and go over to 2 record stores over in Kitchener that are almost literally across the street from each other. And we'll make a video about it. So that should be fun. I love getting together with those guys. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I almost every week, Sunday afternoons, you'll catch me on Chris Mann's channel over in Wales. He does a live stream now. So I've been popping up on that the last few weeks. He always asked me to join. So. And Richard was on with it. Was it last weekend?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. You had to leave early, and I stayed out the whole rest of
the day. I had to do yard work outside because it's the middle of the afternoon on a Sunday, and if it's sunny, the wife's like, hey. No, I'm kidding. She doesn't say that. My wife is wonderful. I feel guilty that I'm wasting away a nice afternoon when I should be doing work outside. So
I know. I don't know if he's still here or not, and I don't know if you guys have had a chance or not, but. Pretty cool of Sam to be able to interview Tommy James.
How incredible was that? I haven't watched it yet. I was texting Sam and I went, "Sam,
what the hell, man?
Fuck did you make that happen?"
Yeah, exactly.
That's incredible.
Very good. Sam's a buddy of ours, and so if you're watching this and you don't follow Sam, go and watch it because I think that's Sam's ultimate goal, right? Is to be that guy that does the interviews and does that and reports on music and does that type of stuff. So good on him. That's awesome. I'm
trying to line up an interview and I don't think it's going to happen, but I've reached out to the people for Adam Baldwin.
Yeah, you said that's great. Yeah.
But that was only 2 days ago and there's been no response yet. But I mean, that's a little friggin' long shot. Not that he's not uber famous, so he shouldn't be like, "Oh, well, I'm not doing that." I don't think he would do that, but I just think it's maybe not his thing. But
who knows?
If you don't ask, it's never going to happen. So
exactly. Cool.
All right, gentlemen, this has been a blast as it always is. Richard, thank you for being our guest. Tim, thanks for joining us too and sitting in for Daryl.
Keeping Daryl's seat warm. Yeah.
Exactly. Hopefully, Daryl will be back next week, but he gets back whenever he gets back. His health is the most important thing. So, Daryl, we miss you, buddy. We'll see you when we see you, but keep Joe and I in the loop, eh? So,
yeah, for sure.
To all the folks that joined us tonight, thank you. We always enjoy chatting with you folks, and for folks that we're going to watch this later on. Thanks for spending a couple hours with us. Next week, provided we can sort out the logistics, Joe and I and whoever else might possibly pre-record an episode, because I will be traveling back from Montreal for work, and don't know. I mean, my plane will get in time before I have to do this, but I don't want to be rushing home and then, so we're probably going to pre-record. We're going to try and pre-record an episode.
You're flying?
Yes.
Okay. I was going to say, if you were driving, well, you got to get through Ottawa.
Yeah, no. Well, so that was the thing. So my boss is coming to town to Montreal for a meeting, and as I'm the Canadian sales director now, doesn't get paid for it. He wants me to meet him, and so he sends me his flight schedule. He goes, "See what you can find that's about the same." And I said to him, "You realize I can drive, right?" He goes, "Well, how far is it?" I go, "It's about 6.5 hours." He goes, "Nope, fly." I go, "But it's expensive." He goes, "I'm not asking you to drive 13 hours in a day and a half to come for a meeting." He goes, "Get on a plane." He goes, "We're a multi-billion-dollar company. $800 ain't gonna break us. So get on
You'll
an
be okay.
So I'm like, all right, boss. I would prefer to fly, because that drive to Ottawa or Montreal sucks, I think. I mean, the stretch from Oshawa to Cornwall, or even that whole stretch, just sucks. I hate it. I used to do it all the time because I used to work in Cornwall. It's brutal. So I'm glad I can get on a plane. It's like a 45-minute flight. I think it's stupid short, but
It's up and down.
yeah, literally.
You barely reach full altitude, and you're all
I
right.
don't even know if you do. I mean,
Yeah, I don't think you would. Probably no. Exactly.
Probably
So
not.
I know the Montreal Ottawa flight is like door to door. It's 20 minutes.
20 minutes? Yeah, exactly. So,
There are flights from Denver to Colorado Springs, which is like 75 miles down the road.
why is that even just
You
drive?
even get off the ground. It's like, woo, we're
yeah,
here.
yeah, and by the time you taxi at Denver Airport, you're probably 3/4 of the way there anyway, right? I guess if it's
Exactly.
the right direction. So.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane. So there probably will be an episode next week. It'll just be pre-recorded. So we'll try and sort. Joe, I'll coordinate with you. We'll sort out the logistics of it. So
For sure.
okay, everybody. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good night, and we will see everyone live in 2 weeks, but probably pre-recorded next week. So have a good night,
Good night,
everyone. Take care.